Yo.
Yeah, it's a day. It's a day. I can't promise anything. There's no promises tonight. Only thing we could say is we're on the air. That's it. We're doing great for that. But anyway, look, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone.
Weekend going so far?
Look, are we getting into that? Are we going everywhere?
No.
This weekend was a disaster zone for so many reasons. I've got to watch. First of all, thank you so much to everybody who gave shout outs and love to me. Loss of a pet always stinks. It's terrible. So thank you anyone who gave me grief over Inter winning and securing even more so first place and almost guaranteeing Scudetto outside of crazy Conti meltdowns. I have thoughts for you as well, but this is a family-friendly show, and I'm going to keep them on the level. Just understand that I'm not going to be distributing those thoughts, but I'm thinking them. Jason, John, Jarrett, how's it going, guys?
Jarrett, how you feeling?
Yeah.
Rangers and stuff.
Woo.
He's just trying to deflect off of Nick. Nick, I hope your weekend improves, and I hope your week improves off your weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Because mine won't.
In Scotland, today,
busy day.
It was a busy day. I'm doing okay because I got a lot of this therapy out of the way this morning, courtesy of one Jason Longshore leading the Stampede against future great manager Stevie Gerrard. Didn't let this title slip away. Good on him. But as far as the rest of Scotland goes, we had late breaking news that we promised to get into. It sounds like Darren McGuinness is out at Aberdeen. Go check out the guys at Here We Go Aberdeen. It's a podcast you pick up on any of your podcatchers. They do a good job. If you can decipher the Scottish accent, you'll be fine. If you can't, it's basically Scottish Duolingo. Good luck.
Are we still in the allegedly, McGuinness has left or he has been asked to leave? Or do we have anything more official?
It sounds like it is all beneficial. If it is, just to give you a scope of what McGuinness has done at Aberdeen, and I know a lot of people have picked up I shouldn't say a lot. Some people have picked up, hopefully more, have picked up Aberdeen since the Atlanta United merger with Aberdeen. The man has managed the most games recently for Aberdeen behind a gentleman who managed a plucky upstart Aberdeen squad and then waltzed down to Manchester to lead a Manchester United team for a very long time. They won Alex Ferguson. Because yes, Ferguson was basically collecting scalps all over the continent when he was at Aberdeen, then went down to Manchester. McGuinness had the second most games managed, or the most games managed since Ferguson. It's an 8-year tenure. Won some trophies there. Probably could have won more if not for the, as they mentioned, if not for the fact that Celtic had a quadruple treble. I mean, Celtic won 3 trophies 4 years in a row, which is, I think it has to kind of skew it when you get away from the old firm for a second. It skews trophies for everyone else a lot. Because Rangers wasn't winning anything. Aberdeen, St. Mirren, Hibs, they're not winning the occasional trophy you might expect. St. Johnstone, they're not winning that occasional trophy that you might expect to win. And that for those guys, I mean, let's be honest, in that league, we talked about it this morning, that league is dominated by Celtic and Rangers since, the 60s, was it we talked about?
Since 1960, there's been 6 seasons that somebody else other than Celtic or Rangers won the Scottish title. That's ridiculous.
There you go. It's comical. But so if you're one of those other teams, winning a League Cup makes your year.
Makes your decade.
It's hard. It can. But, I mean, if you're Aberdeen, though, you're expecting more than that. You're expecting a trophy every couple of years if you're Aberdeen. Because you've got 3 trophy opportunities a year domestically. You're not going to get the league, most likely. Just go ahead and write that off. No one's won the league since, I think, 83 or 84 other than Celtic or Rangers. But when Celtic won 12 trophies in a row, it really skews everything. And I hope that people. I understand the frustrations with McInnes because, man, right now, like, they're 3 points back of third place, which is a guarantee of group stage European football because of the way Scotland has done with the coefficient, thanks to Rangers. A little bit Celtic, 90% Rangers, 10% Celtic. But because of that work, you're looking at European games. You're looking at money these clubs don't usually get. They need that money. They need that money to invest and to make a little bit of noise, hopefully. And right now, Hibs looks like they're going to get it. They kind of are backing into it. They've lost 2 in a row. Aberdeen's 2 points back because Hibs is dropping games, not because Aberdeen is doing something good. But 3 points back, Hibs have a game in hand. The split's going to come up. Go look up the split if you don't know what it is. It's really dumb and beautiful, and I love it.
It's so
Jason
stupid.
hates it.
It's so stupid. It is the dumbest thing ever in a league format. And this is coming from somebody who watches the Argentine League.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But I hope McInnes is remembered as a guy who came in when things were bad, righted the ship, went almost a decade, had some really good moments, and then at the end, it was just time for a change.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he was a failure.
No, I'm totally with you. I think he did a good job. It is time for a new voice. The question's already come up with one Stephen Glass and his experience in Atlanta with the first team, his experience with Atlanta United 2, his experience with Aberdeen. Would his name come up? I don't know. Like, I don't know what direction they're looking. It's really hard to tell. And, I mean, like Jarrett laid it out, this is a league that Aberdeen has no business really being in competition to win the league. You're talking about like budgets and squad valuations 5, 6, 7 times of a difference between everybody else and Rangers and Celtic. So, okay, then what are you trying to accomplish? And I get the sense, and this was probably leading up to before the Atlanta United investment there, but I get the sense from the things we've heard since we've been paying closer attention, since I've been paying closer attention, that they're trying to build more for a sustainable club. And one way you do that is developing talent. And that's something that Stephen Glass has a good bit of experience in with what he's done with Atlanta United too. I think he does a good job, as I was saying on the Discord in a conversation earlier, I think he does a good job in the 1v1 relationships with players and getting them to that next level individually. And that should be a big aspect of the job at Aberdeen. I think it would have a huge element here. He's going to understand these players. I think his time in Atlanta would be great. Is he ready to make that move? Maybe not. I mean, again, when you start comparing the two, like he would be going to a club that has really no chance to win a league. You're hoping to get hot in a cup run. You're hoping to finish high enough and everybody else does well enough in terms of the coefficient to get into Europe and make a little bit of noise. Is that the job that he would want to take? I don't know. I don't know. I hope he gets an interview. I hope he gets consideration because I think he deserves it. And Aberdeen's got to decide what direction they're going to go. And I think Stephen Glass needs to decide, what he wants to do as well, because it might not be the right job for him right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Dave Cormack came out and said the board will start the search for a new management team immediately. It has a clear timetable in place. In the meantime, we believe we have a robust interim solution for the rest of the season in the Scottish Cup, which is still all to play for. The remaining 6 league games will be led by Paul Sheeran, supported by Barry Robson and Neil Simpson. And according to the press release, they will strive to deliver European football with a third-place finish.
Okay, so then when I asked earlier if we had an announcement that was official, we do have an announcement that is official.
I did see one before we were talking, so
we do.
I claim that I had not seen one.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Thanks for breaking that.
That's kind of important.
McInnes and his assistant, Tony Docherty, are leaving the club with immediate effect.
Okay. How was it worded? Were they being asked to leave, or did they leave of their own accord?
Have agreed to part company.
So mutual. Okay. That makes sense. That's respectful.
Even if he's being asked to leave, that's the right way to go.
Yeah,
even if
100%.
they're saying you're done, we're gonna phrase this in a way that lets you walk out of here.
100%. He deserves that.
Yeah.
You know what this is, by the way? This is what Neil Lennon should have done. in December. Actually, no. Neil Lennon should have done this after Ferencvaros game in Champions League qualifying.
Neil Lennon should have done it then. He should have done it in November. He should have done it in December. He should have done it the first week of January, the second week of January, the third week of January. He should have done it January 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Any of those days. Yep. One of them he could have picked to say, I'm a legend here, and it's really not going well. I'm going to leave. He demanded that he wasn't going to leave, and he ran his mouth, and he said a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And, Stevie G is the guy who everybody's going nuts about. But the fact is, Neil Lennon torpedoed the club that he's a legend at. Torpedoed!
And did not just torpedo the club, he torpedoed history. I mean, he torpedoed 10 in a row. And that's something that has to be weighed upon him just as much as blowing, torpedoing your own club and blowing any shot at ensuring that Rangers wouldn't secure the title at all. I mean, because it's a 2-horse race there, but you have to add the gravity of blowing 10 in a row, that historic feat. It blows my mind. I get club legend, but you can't let him back in the building after this.
Yeah.
You can buy a ticket like anyone else.
I choose to believe, for no good reason other than I don't learn my lessons in life, I choose to believe that will haunt him for the rest of his days.
It should.
And that it does bug him. I mean, and that he will feel at some point he'll make peace and realize everything he did wrong. But I mean, he doesn't fix everything over the last year plus, but whatever.
Garrett, we have a poll up on the Twitch pitch.
Is what should have happened at Celtic. Bottom line is, what's happening at Aberdeen is what should have happened at Celtic. Whether it was hey, I'm going to leave because this is clearly not working right now, or you're going to leave, but we're going to let you. Yeah. We're going to make this as honorable as we can for you.
Yeah,
right.
Jarrett, we have a poll up on the Twitch pitch.
Jesus,
oh, Lord.
Is Stevie G ready for the Liverpool job right now?
I don't have enough alcohol for this, y'all.
Is he ready for the job today? Well,
if he had taken Aberdeen, because, first of all, if you missed the morning side, the write-ups on Stevie G today are as if they're as if he took Aberdeen. You'd have thought he took Aberdeen and won the league by, 20 points.
No, Dundee FC after they found emails in their spam filters and such.
There you go.
And Dundee United also had Ian Harkes on the field. Shout out to the little Harkes. Man, I don't think Gerrard is ready for that. In the same sense, obviously Lampard wasn't ready when he took a team from the Championship up to the first level of England, because that dude was shell-shocked like he just rolled into Passchendaele. So
you want to know the results of the poll so far?
No, because
No, it's really funny. 18 people voted. 16 have said Stevie G is not ready for the job today.
Good.
No.
Ragamuffin says stop trolling the Scousers.
89% of the vote.
Right. I mean,
there's no way in the world he's ready for that gig.
No, he should say no if they offered it to him. No, I don't want that right now. I need more time, Mel. Come on.
My God.
No, if the job is breaking Jurgen Klopp like this, I can't begin to imagine what Stevie G would do in that role as the club legend. There's no way in the world that he's ready for this.
No. It's going to be kind of a crazy show tonight with all kinds of different things going on. So
how crazy is it?
I don't know, John. How crazy is it?
It's very crazy.
That's right, Nick. That's the right answer. There will be comings and goings of people on the show. There are games going on as we speak. River Plate and Argentinos Juniors is going to kick off here in about 15 minutes.
That'll be measured and normal.
Yeah. River, look, the thing about the game down in Argentina right now is a little weird because River and Boca haven't started all that great in the Copa de la Liga, at least until last night, where Boca remembered they were Boca, and they were 1-1 and said, this is stupid, what are we doing? And they scored 6 unanswered goals and won 7-1. But what it does
I choose to believe that's because of the Napoli game. Somebody walked in
could
that
be.
dressing room and said, "If you ever do that again with that shirt on."
It could be. It could be. That will be on Fanatis, folks, if you want to watch River and Argentinos Juniors. fntz.co/soccer down here. That's our affiliate link with Fanatis. They are awesome. It is only on Fanatis. This is not on TIC Internacional tonight. But River now, Boca has a 7-1 win. The pressure turns. And it's like, hey, River Plate, what are you going to do? Because next
they did
week,
7. What are you doing?
They play the Super Classico next Sunday. Boca was hot garbage 4-card. Hold on. 4-card's going to talk trash to me. I said at 1-1 Boca was hot garbage because they had been hot garbage. They almost lost to an amateur team that was in the 4th division last year. Almost. They got angry and they finally remembered they were Boca.
Almost only counts in hand grenades, baby.
Yeah, it does. They were hot garbage until they remembered they weren't hot garbage. But they were absolutely hot garbage up until that point.
Garbage.
So if me calling them hot garbage sparked Boca to 6 goals, I expect to thank you, Boca Juniors. Man.
Get him 4-card.
Man. We've got other games going on. This was actually a fun thing you guys missed on Saturday night for the Gambetta. We were checking the live scores all over the world, and as the games got late and there was madness happening with VAR in Mexico, we discovered that the games had kicked off in the New South Wales League in Australia, which we initially thought was New Zealand. It just happens. And we found a new team.
Wait, as opposed to like the A-League?
Yeah, it wasn't the A-League. It's like the lower divisions in Australia.
Better.
And the new team that probably needs to get the SDH bump, Manly United. They are Manly United. And they can't decide on their mascot, so they're a lot like Auburn. They're the Dolphins, but they have an eagle in their badge. I mean, like, that makes sense.
They're Cowboy.
And they're Manly United. I'm not holding anything. Auburn needs to pick a mascot and roll with it. Eagles and Plainsmen and Tigers. I mean, come on. Manly United. Manly United. They are in Manly. It's like a
I
suburb.
was about to say, believe Manly's a suburb. And
Yes. There you go.
so.
We're also keeping eye on scores tonight. And in the Copa Libertadores Femenina, Boca Juniors leading in stoppage time against Deportivo Tropical. 10-1. 10-1. There's a few teams in the Copa Libertadores Femenina who are not doing so great. There was a 16-0 over the weekend, but 10-1 Boca over Deportivo Tropical.
I'm still just tripping out that you guys are watching like 2nd division Australian
No,
soccer.
we weren't watching it. There was just scores. We couldn't find that game on. That would have been amazing if we could have watched it. Probably it's like 5th division Australian soccer, by the way. No, that would have been great. We were watching all at once Mexico and VAR. We were watching Argentina, and then it transitioned over to Colombia, and we saw a goalkeeper who would have made Rene Higuita say, dude, you might want to chill out a little bit.
That's
Okay.
bold.
Yeah, it's
Very bold.
it's madness.
That seems dangerous to your health.
It was a little dangerous. He was creative in his goalkeeping techniques. Let's just say
That's not a word. That's not a good word to use.
no. You don't want to be creative if you're a goalkeeper.
No.
By the way, someone go find like 5th Division Scotland, by the way, so we can watch Loch Ness FC and their nice new Euro kits.
Oh,
you haven't seen those yet.
Woo.
They're pretty nice.
Thank you, Nick. I think it was Nick brought those to my attention.
Indeed.
Yeah, go look those up. Put them on TV just so I can see those in action.
But what we
Even though
do,
they're like non-league.
If you are a fan, right? If you're a fan of mystical sea creatures and soccer kits, Loch Ness FC is. That's right.
That is the confluence of both right there.
That's
And
right.
It's my daughter's favorite team because she has discovered the Loch Ness Monster and thinks it's just the coolest damn thing. So,
That's right.
yeah, here we are.
I've also learned that if you are a total degenerate when it comes to juice boxes, you
Yes.
can look up the numbers on the Gaucho State League in Brazil, because we're in the state league competitions now in Brazil, where you've got like big clubs like Internacional playing São Luís. Don't know anything about them. You also have Pelotas versus Ipiranga. And Pelotas is not rated very well. They have a nice badge though, but they're not rated very well. So
you can also get juice boxes in the Campeonato Amazonense and the Campeonato Maranhense.
Yes, there are other state leagues. It's good to know if you really need to make up juice boxes late in the day. You got the Brazilian state leagues to look at. It's good times. People are looking for the Loch Ness kit now, by the way, and people are also looking up Manly United. Although Brad is afraid to click on the Manly United team page because he thinks his computer will be taken over by ransomware.
It's a non-zero chance, first of all. Second of all, Loch Ness has 3 kits. All 3 of them are great, and they've started the pre-order on the Scotland Euro 2021 Euro 2020 kit. Because, again, Scotland plays England in a Euro match this summer, and there will be at least 5 deaths in that game.
It's possible. I'm not touching.
It's completely possible.
I'm not touching the over/under on that one, but it's possible.
Oh, England will provide most of the over. Scotland, I suspect there will be like an attempt at some Clapole level like red card activity, and God forbid y'all let fans in the stands for that game.
Katie Weaver chimes in that Delphine SC would like a word on sea creature logos, which is absolutely accurate.
Yeah.
Ecuador's
I'm
finest.
here for all cryptozoological mascots. The same reason I have an Appalachian FC shirt.
Yep.
We just need to do that one day. We need to have a show where we just dedicate it to weird random kits that you can actually purchase, unlike ones from unnamed South American clubs that are no longer receiving the ray of sunshine from the SDH universe.
Nah.
We're not even, they have been delisted.
Yeah.
If Austin
redacted
FC out there with like a Chupacabra kit.
Now let's see how the squad Deportivo Binacional that we tried to put the SDH juice behind. We tried to give them a big push.
Deportivo redacted.
Yeah, 3 losses and 4. Now we're going to call them out. We're not going to redact anything. They're getting called out because we were all about them, went nuts on a show, and they've lost 3 of their last 4 that they've played. And the Peruvian League starts back up on the 12th. It's about to start. They will host Sporting Cristal in that. They are in the first division. They didn't get relegated, but yeah, not so much. Sorry, Binacional. We tried. You didn't want to help. You didn't want to
play. We wanted the cool dueling Pumas on the kit. We were wanting those. The magic was there. You can ask Defensa Justicia about the juice.
They got a trophy.
That we bring.
The SDH magic is real.
I mean,
even Jason bought into Hibs, and they're sitting there in 3rd place in Scotland. Damn.
Cabbage.
That's right. Cabbage, baby.
The cabbage.
And thanks to the show Avatar, you have an entire collection of GIFs to choose from.
Ricky says the Binacional episode was the favorite episode all time of soccer over there. We'll never look at New Balance the same.
Yes.
There is a sense of like we will. There are nights where I'm convinced like, oh, we're never going to achieve this again, for better or worse.
Yeah, that one was special. In the Twitch pitch going on right now, Winter Wind is sharing a Round Rock Chupacabras minor league baseball jersey with you, Jarrett.
I'm here for it.
The Round Rock Chupacabras, Jarrett. There you go.
Oh man, that's so perfect.
We have requests.
Because usually I just rotate in a hat selection between a Nordiques hat I picked up in Quebec City last year and the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Nothing will beat the Albany Polecats minor league baseball logo. That was the best. Ragamuffin says, does anyone have an FC Santa Claus kit? I've not seen the FC Santa Claus kit, but I could imagine
I have T-shirt, but not kit.
No,
you can get it on worldsoccershop.com.
There you go. J-Dub says Pescara would also like a place in the nautical themed kits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're in the mix. We need a nautical soccer cup and have all these guys come out and play.
And the best was they allowed a kid to design one of the kits. So it was like the dolphin with this like magical rainbow behind it.
Oh yeah, that kit was awesome.
I remember that one.
Yes.
That was very cool. Domer enjoyed posing for the Appalachian FC logo. That might be accurate, actually. Yeah. And Badger says 1/3 of the show would be dedicated to full Mingo. No, it wouldn't. No.
It would.
No.
It would.
Let me tell you about Jason's opinions on the Mingo.
No, it wouldn't. I just want him to actually put a decent team on the field. That's all. They put 500 tweets a week about flamingos or about cows or about silly gimmicks and nothing about the actual soccer.
But they are now nationwide. They are featured in global kit postings.
Yeah, it's true.
From Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah. You can't knock the branding. I know you want players. I know you want the infrastructure to back it, but
it's good. I'm ready for the rest of it now. That's where I'm at. It needs to be better on the field.
All I want is the designer of Ford Madison's kits to come and design a SDH Universe kit.
Okay, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I'm terrified, but yes, I like it. Let's do it.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I like to live in fear from time to time. It's good. Gustavo also chimes in. In Argentina, the obsession with success is such that a week ago, Boca was a complete garbage. They were complete garbage even like a few hours ago before the 7-1. Mm-hmm. And today, after the result against Vélez, it is Guardiola's Barcelona. What I also love is that you've got arguments now. We've talked about it with the competitions down there and like what's considered a league title and what's considered a cup and how it really gets intense when they decide what the competition is actually going to be referred to as, because this current one was going to be a league title and they changed it to a cup. It's now at the point, Boca's won the last 2 domestic titles. They won the Copa Diego Armando Maradona, which was a league cup. Before that, they won the Superliga. So people are saying if they win the current competition, they would be a tricampeón, which is very rare. Now you've got people like historians in the game posting Twitter threads about, no, they would not be a tricampeón because these are cups, not leagues, and it's not the same thing. And people are, it's a thread, like going into detail about this. There's only a handful of teams who have won that many league titles in a row. Like there's a bunch who've won back-to-back. But winning 3 in a row, River's done it 3 times. Racing's done it. Racing's won 7 in a row, but you're going like way back in the day on that. A club at the very beginning of the Argentine league structure called Alumni won a bunch of titles in a row. It was literally like alumni of a school, and it was an English-speaking school. That's why they're called alumni. And a club, Lomas Athletic. So like, that's why Boca wants to claim it and say, like, yeah, we're a tricampeón. And everybody else is like, no, you're not. And it's this huge fight in Argentine soccer about what is a tricampeón? What is a league title? What is a cup title? What's the difference? Is this a big deal? It's ridiculous. It is absurd. And now River's about to play with all that as a backdrop and getting ready for the Super Classico next week. It's good times.
I finally saw the Pescada, the rainbow kit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was a 6-year-old named Luigi who wanted to kick COVID-19, and so they came up with that.
That's right.
And you can still get that kit at Classic Football Shirts, so it still is available for purchase.
Man, make Luigi's day.
Yeah, seriously.
Pick up one of those Pescara kits and make it happen. Look, I have to go ahead and put this out there. I've been delaying it, gentlemen. I've been delaying it, and I know, Jason, you've been just gearing up. I can see you.
What? Why?
Building the program to punch me in the gut, just like you did Jarrett.
Well, and then resting.
The Scudetto is Inter's pretty much now to lose. I don't see a way that anyone's going to catch them. The Milan got the miracle they needed by winning at Verona. Juric's defense, Juric, who's the manager for Verona, his team is just spectacular defensively. Milan was able to get the win. We got what we needed. We were really hoping that Atalanta could put the brakes on Conti with the muskrat staple gun on top of his head. That they could get the vital loss that we needed. However, it didn't happen. So thanks, Skriniar. So we have to acknowledge reality. I cut promos on the reg about reality and what is and what might be and things like that. So we have to acknowledge reality as it stands. It is going to be a blue and black Scudetto this year. I don't like it. I accept it. See, that is cold-blooded. I am in the middle of there are moments in life where you prove that you are an adult and you have grown spiritually and emotionally. This is one of those moments. Thank you for making sure that Juve does not win the Scudetto this year. Enter. Have a great day. Your credit card bounced. Sorry. There we go. That's all you're getting.
You have the facilities for that, big man.
They don't.
They really don't.
They really don't.
They owe Manchester United a lot of money. They owe Real Madrid a lot of money.
And so if you go to like Florence and you go to, they have this huge market there. And again, once you get your vaccine and wear your mask and all that, and we're able to do so, go to Florence and go to the big market, and then you may have a few beverages and decide, you know what? Nature calling, need to go to the loo. There's a gentleman sitting outside of the bathroom with a box. You got to pay to go in and use the bathroom. All right, it is there. There are no guest facilities for you to use, buddy. You better have the euro on hand to get in and go. I promise you, they're doing that right now at Inter. They have the Players League practice. They have to put their little euro into the thing to use the loo. They want to get the extra, sports drink of their choice. They have to put in a couple of extra euro for that. They're probably charging for everything at this point.
Dropping the dime in the slot for the toilet at the side of
all of it.
And there's not enough room. There's not enough room underneath the door to slide under.
No.
You got to pay the dime to get in.
You got to pay the toll. And you know what? I'm okay with that. It's unfortunate.
I mean, Inter in their last 15, 12-2-1.
Yeah, they've been really good. All shade aside, they have been. This is probably one of Conte's best performances. You can't get around it. I have some questions about the longevity of this team, if they can, because obviously with Juve, when Conte and Beppe took over and they rebuilt that club into the monster that it is, they had money to keep the machine going. They don't have that at Inter anymore. So if it is a one and done, who's going to take that spot? I don't think Juve is going to be there next year at the top. I think they're maybe a year or so away because they got to get rid of Ronaldo's salary and then maybe make a couple of tweaks and changes here, get younger, and who knows what can happen. It will be interesting to see who comes after Inter because I don't think this is sustainable. I just don't. If they're having trouble covering transfers as is, then I don't see how they can keep it going for another year. But they're going to get it this year. I think that's what counts.
Speaking of that, our next poll is up right now.
Oh, God.
Who will win Serie A next year? Inter, Milan, Juve, Atalanta, or somebody else?
I will put down my vote as Atalanta will be my selection for next year.
Very intriguing.
It's my stupid early prediction.
Well, you are swaying the polling right now. It's actually fairly split, but Atalanta has an early lead.
All right, so your top six, and this is all right. So the top six right now: Inter, AC Milan, Juve, Roma, Atalanta, Napoli. You don't see that changing?
Roma's going to need help. They have a manager who they don't necessarily want to be the manager currently in charge. They're still, they're sitting at 4. They've had, the past 2 games have been wins, and they're still trying to get the manager out the door to bring in the manager of their particular choice, Mr. Max Allegri. It does not make sense to me. Let this man cook. I mean, he's getting you Champions League. Let the man cook. However, Mr. Friedkin wants what Mr. Friedkin wants. So I do think that the top 5 will remain the same. Napoli, they would have to bring Maurizio Sarri back in, or get they're going to have to find someone to come in.
Rafa.
Sarri-like. I don't think it's going to be Gattuso. I think they're just going to part ways at the end of the year.
Rafa.
Yeah, but does Rafa get them back into the top 5?
Nope.
The top 4?
Nope.
I don't think so.
But I think that's who it's going to be.
No, I agree. They should get Maurizio Sarri, but
they should stick with Gattuso.
Fiorentina has to be careful. I mean, they're sitting at 14. That's the other team that was in play for Maurizio Sarri. They're sitting at 14 with 2 losses and a draw. I don't know. They may.
Yeah, let's look at the races that are still there, because Nick has conceded. He's thrown in the towel for Milan. They're 6 points back at the top. It's over. But Milan will go to Champions League next year. I think that's a safe thing to say.
And we needed Inter to win today to really ensure safety for Champions League. We there are a lot of people who wanted Atalanta to win. I don't want it. It's almost like Rocky 2, where at the beginning Apollo Creed is sitting there and he talks about how he wants Balboa back in the ring, and his trainer
but
comes
champ,
up.
you don't need Rocky again.
That you hit that man with everything you had, and the man kept coming after you. No, we don't need that kind of man in our life, baby. I'm telling you, we don't need that kind of team like Atalanta in our life right now. Keep them out. Keep them out of the top 4. Stop the count.
They're right there.
The damn towel.
So if Inter and Milan are in the Champions League next year, then it is Juve in 3rd on 52, game in hand. Roma 50 and 4th. Atalanta 5th, 49. Napoli game in hand 47. And then you're going to Lazio 43 game in hand. So they're still in the ballpark. The other end of the table gets really interesting too. Crotone, Parma, not completely gone yet. Not completely. They're Crotone on 15 at the bottom, Parma on 16. Torino has 2 games in hand. They're in the last relegation spot on 20. Those games are going to pile up for Torino. But they have games to make up a difference. Cagliari is on 22. Benevento is on 26. Spezia is on 26. Fiorentina is on 26. That gets up to 14th. Genoa is on 27, which is 7 points safe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bologna's on 28. I mean, maybe you got to include them in. They've lost their last 2. That gets you up to 12, where 12 to 20 is kind of madness on the other end of the table. Right.
It is. This is probably one of the most exciting Serie A years that I can remember. I mean, both ends of the table, you are within a game of either working your way into relegation or working your way into Champions League. So I think that the teams that are, even if they go down, will be okay. I think Spezia is about to get a massive investment of funds with new management. They're going to be okay. They can get back up.
The results of the poll. Atalanta 4, Inter 3, Milan 3, Juve 3, somebody else 1.
Wow.
That's pretty good for Serie A, though. That's good.
Yeah. That's great. Look, I said it last year when Nathan Pugh, or not last year, good Lord, that shows where my brain is at. Like last week when Nathan Pugh asked what my honest thoughts were regarding Inter. The league is better when there's more competition. And if that means I have to endure a good Inter, it is what it is. I would rather eyeballs be on the league than one team stay at the top forever and always, and it's just ho-hum. I don't like when Alabama wins the championship every flipping year. It's terrible. I don't like I don't like when I hate Notre Dame, and I have to admit that football is more exciting when Notre Dame is good enough to get into the college football playoff. And I say that with massive, gigantic air quotes. So there are certain things that make sports more enjoyable. Ridiculous level of competition aids that, makes it better. It adds that extra spice. And for Syria, there are some teams that if they go down, they're going to be in serious trouble. Fiorentina is one of them.
Yeah.
I think that Torino, if they go down, they're not coming back up anytime soon. Parma, I think, would be okay. They would bounce back up in. It seems that Kraus is really committed to sinking some funds into that club. Benevento, I think they're going to end up being okay before it's all said and done. Genoa could be a little dicey. Bologna is going to be okay. And from then on, it's who's going to work their way into Champions League. But the dysfunction at Roma is going to be more of an issue because you don't want to take away any focus from management doing their job, but the Friedkins can't seem to help themselves, and the Allegri rumors are not going away. And then you have the issue where they've walked away from the stadium deal. So there's just a lot of distraction there that one way or another can see its way to the field. In a good club where there's lots of structure between ownership and on-field management, this doesn't play into any, the issues with the stadium and all that, the rumors play no role. But with Roma, I don't think those firewalls are in place. And so I think it can bleed into the on-field play. Atalanta's going to be A-okay. They're going to keep cooking. They're doing this without Papa Gomez. So, I'm done begging against them.
Come on, Napoli.
As far as Juve goes, Juve's doing all right. You can't really knock what they're doing.
No, they're fine. Pirlo's building something. I like what he's attempting to do.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see where it goes. We got a bunch of questions. I'm going to fire off questions. There's some for each of you. From Burned, Nick, what's your take on Serie A potentially going to CBS, Paramount Plus, or another channel?
I love it. I think I love what ESPN Plus has done for Serie A. When they were on BN, it was a wasteland. You never even knew if you were you would go to the guide, the channel guide, and it would say, "Oh, Milan versus Napoli," and you would put it on, and it would be some league owned game, like, oh well, they're not. I guess they're not playing Serie A today. Okay, great. ESPN Plus obviously uplifted the product, made it great. However, if I can get Argentine Super League, Brazil, Serie A, and Champions League and Europa League all in one app, where I don't have to go to 4 different apps to make this happen, that's fantastic for my wallet, and I'm okay with it. So far, I've been very impressed with everything that Paramount Plus has done. I think this is a far better product than anything that Turner put forth or Bleacher Report, and I'm completely okay with how they're handling it. Besides, I'm a nerd anyway, so if I can go from Champions League to Star Trek Discovery, even better for me. So I'm completely okay with Paramount Plus, but I do wonder how ESPN will respond. What property will they go get to fill that void?
La Liga
of Syria.
La Liga.
La Liga would be great.
They go through all the pesetas at it and get it. That's it. Right. That's the one. That's the one. They kill off BN with that, possibly, at least in the U.S., because I don't know what BN could replace it with. The French League is what the French League is, and the Turkish Super League and whatever else. There's just not much else out there. We'll see. One for you, John, from Brad. Does Tottenham have a chance in the Europa? Needs positive reinforcement from our English snob.
Okay, so let's see. Europa League. They are paired against Dinamo Zagreb in the round of 16. Big favorite at home. I could see that they get to the round of 8. Ajax, Young Boys, Kiev, Villarreal, Manchester United, AC Milan hanging around. Rangers would be interesting. You get to that point. You're looking at a couple of folks who are familiar with you. Arsenal's probably going to knock off Olympiacos. Then Granada will be a pain in the ass for anybody. Roma and Shakhtar, that one for me is a toss-up, even though Roma's a favorite in the first leg. Slavia Prague and Rangers, Manchester United, AC Milan. Manchester United's a big favorite. Dinamo Kiev, Villarreal, another pain in the butt. So just hope that until the bitter end, you're not paired up against like a Villarreal or a Granada. But yes, here's your positive reinforcement. Yes, there's your short answer.
All right, Nick, does Fiorentina come in for Barco?
Earlier this season, I would have said yes. Now I'm not so sure. It would make a lot of sense for Barco to go to Fiorentina. Budget is right. I would say that prior to their earlier challenges, it would be a good fit for Barco. Now I think there's too much upheaval with management. Cesare Prandelli obviously will not be there. If they can get Maurizio Sarri, yes, absolutely great fit for him. But if they go and they get, one of these Serie A retreads, no, it's going to be terrible for him. So I would love to see Barco in Serie A, and I would love to see him at Fiorentina. He would love living in Florence, but I have trouble envisioning that at this point.
What is telenovela in Italian?
I don't know.
Soap opera in Italian?
What? Yeah.
You guys have to have them. Come on now.
There's a word for it. My brain's scrambled at the moment, so I couldn't even put it together for you. But they do exist, yes.
We will find an answer to that, Will. Burned has one for you, Nick. How would you rate yesterday's Stanley Tucci episode about Milan?
I love that. I am completely in love with Search for Italy with Stanley Tucci. It is my favorite CNN show, my favorite travel show since Bourdain with No Reservations, with Parts Unknown. Yeah, and to be honest with you, the Florence episode has been my favorite so far. Florence is my favorite city. I have to admit, it is my absolute favorite city in Italy. The greatest meal I've ever eaten in my life was in Florence. So that's my all-time favorite. But I have yet to see a bad episode of this show, and it helps that what makes it so good is that he's discovering a lot of stuff. In Florence, he lived there. So it was, you could see that it was more of a coming home, but for the rest of it, it's been very much him discovering. He's just, rediscovering his Italian roots. He's discovering more of the culture side of it. He speaks the language. It really helps. And so he's opening a lot of doors that way. I think he's opening more doors than even maybe Anthony Bourdain would get, simply because it means a lot to them when you can walk in and even at like a 2-year-old level, say anything in Italian and you demonstrate that you've put forth any effort. It means something. So yeah, no, I'm completely in love with that show. Completely. And the Milan episode, I love it all. Just keep the show coming. Don't make me wait week to week. Just put it online and let me binge. And let me rewatch it.
Okay.
Because that is a show I will rewatch.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Yeah. Those shows, like the Bourdain ones, you can watch them over and over again.
Right.
Couple things as we go this evening. 8:00. I don't know what time he's actually going to appear on the show, but our guy, Kevin Patrick, I believe, because he was announced today as joining WWE, so I guess he'll be on Raw tonight on USA Network, which will be hilarious. You've got River and Argentinos in the 19th minute. Argentinos has had chances. River's got a dangerous free kick right now. De La Cruz is over it. We got the weird, secondary wall that River set up to try to distract, and they're going to split, and the shot goes over the bar anyway, and it was a waste. Yeah, yippee. Anyway.
Soap opera in Italian?
Yes, John. What is it?
Soap opera.
No.
Yes.
I call shenanigans.
I'll tell you this. In Sicily, I was in Sicily in '98, and we were visiting relatives, and we walk in, and one of the older aunts was in there watching Dynasty, like old throwback Dynasty episodes, and she did not care that we had come into town. It did not bother her in the least.
Carringtons and Colbys are on. It doesn't matter.
No. And so she goes like this, little smile away. Ciao, ciao, ciao. And then, ¿cómo te llamas? Sí. Grazie. Dynasty. She was done. She didn't want to say anything else. She was finished. And so it's, don't underestimate the impact of those shows. Like my cousin believed for a long time that a great many of the ladies here in the United States resembled the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders because he watched a lot of Dallas. So,
Okay.
we got to think at the time, like a lot of the 80s shows that worked their way, they were new and fresh here in the late 80s, early 90s, were sort of, because we didn't have, the same sort of content distribution systems that we have now. You had the new hot shows in Italy in that time period were probably older episodes of Dallas, and in the 80s 80s starlets like Lonnie Anderson and all. Like what do they look like? They were Cowboy cheerleader clones. So you gotta love it what it was, man. But
so Hutcho says his translator shows soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't act like you get them all right, John. Half the time you come up with things that make no sense. Don't be doing the hand things and stuff.
I got this one, and that's what matters in the presentation.
The sun shines on a dog's you-know-what every once in a while.
Right. And I make no bones about the fact that I speak it with about like a vocabulary of a 2-year-old. Between books and apps and relatives who are, God bless them, kind enough to hear me try to butcher my way through it. And then I also learned by ordering a bunch of Italian coloring books, like little kids coloring books off of Amazon. So I saw this because I saw videos with Milan players on the train, and Jean-Peter Hauge was one of them. He had like a little kid's coloring book, and he's like sitting there going through and doing his thing, and that's how he started picking things up. But if I don't know, I will promise to tell you I will not BS you a fantastic answer. But yeah. From Discord this weekend, Coco asked about why does Syria focus on trying to have so many Italian players on the field as opposed to like having sort of a free-for-all of. Italy is a country that is stuck in its past. And this is not, we talked about this in the early days of soccer over there with Italy, where if you are from Florence, you are not Italian, you are Florentine. If you are from Sicily and you are not Italian, right? You are Sicilian. Where you are from, the city, that you're going back to like the old city-state days. Italy itself is not that old of a country. So it was a collection of city-states and kingdoms, and then, of course, the church ran all of it, and you had immense pride in, and I'll give you an example. Florence, for example, they have Calcio Storico, which go on Netflix, and they have a series called Home Game. And Home Game on Netflix, the first episode is Calcio Storico. So imagine UFC, hockey, soccer, and rugby combined into one sport where the stands are right up on to where it's a sandy playing surface like the NBA, right? And when they say go, the front line of dudes are like right hooking each other into the face, drop kick, knee, elbows. They're like grabbing each other, like tie clenching and kneeing each other in the heads and whatnot. And they have a row of circles at the end, and the object is to get the ball down or net rather, and throw it into this horizontal net. And that's how you score. And the only way you can play this is if you are a native-born Florentine. You have to have a birth certificate that says you were born in Florence to play. One of the players says, I made sure my son was born in Florence, even though we lived outside the city, so that way he will have the ability to play should he so choose. When you go through the history, Italy has this long issue with how they view themselves and how they view the rest of the world. And if you ask a lot of native Italians, they will say it's not racist, it's not racist, it's not racist. If you ask anyone from outside of Italy, they're going to be like, yeah, it's pretty racist. Because they view themselves as going back to the times of the Romans. Why do we want to mess this up? We at one point ruled the world. Why are we not getting the respect? Everyone thinks that, it's like Mario, Luigi, and, we sit around and we just pound wine and do whatever all day. No, they have major issues with this. And Arrigo Sacchi, the legendary Milan manager, who had a ton of foreigners on his team, still talks about how we need more Italians, playing in the top flight. After the 2002 World Cup, they wanted to remove the South Korean player who scored the goal. He played in Syria. They were like, no, we got to get him out of the league as punishment for sending Italy out. That's what you're dealing with, right? And there was a huge push where they wanted to remove all the foreigners from Syria. And then, of course, the big dogs, Juve, AC Milan and Inter were like, no, that's not happening. So it's a country that does not like change. We see this with the Roma deal. They had a brand new stadium that they were going to build, and red tape. American billionaire after American billionaire has gone in trying to do something new and inventive and exciting when it comes to updating stadium, when it comes to updating infrastructure, and they run into so much red tape, they get so frustrated and they leave. It's a country that does not like new things. And part of retaining the old ways is to have a very conservative view of even something down to team construction. So, short story long, and rambling, I'm sure. That's why you're not seeing, you constantly hear about this drive to have more Italians in Syria. I don't think it's necessarily the right way to go about business. Obviously, when you look at the 2006 squad, they had they had a guy on there who was a native-born Argentine who got dual citizenship and ended up playing for the Italian national team, and he didn't get the same level of respect because they have a pejorative that they put on people like me and people like some of the other folks who were coming in, because they said, well, they need to be native born, they need to be raised in our culture. They are not true Italians, they're not raised in our culture. So it's very problematic because the birth rates in Italy are declining dramatically, and so they need as many new citizens as humanly possible, which is why they, as much as you hear about them trying to revamp the dual citizen process, they're probably not going to change it because they need that economic influx. So it's what you bring to the table is something that has been around for a long time and very problematic. And I'm hoping over time it changes. I don't think it will, though.
Italy sounds very complicated.
It is extraordinarily complicated. Extraordinarily complicated.
I get it. I think what's difficult about it for people from the outside to try to get an understanding of is when you see the things in the soccer world, like Mario Balotelli and his situation and some of the ways he was treated, and others, and just some of the things we've seen in the game. Like, you see it and it kind of shocks you and kind of blows your mind if you don't know the culture and know like that element of backstory, because there's reasons for it. It doesn't make it right, but there's reasons why those things happen and are happening the way they are. I mean, it's such a strange thing if you don't know any of that and you watch a game and you hear the chants that you hear sometimes. It shocked me when I first started watching games from Spain, and I'll always remember Real Madrid and Deportivo La Coruña in like 2000, 4 or 5. And the monkey chants, like clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. It was at Deportivo La Coruña, and I'm like, they've got black Brazilian players right there. And you're doing that at Roberto Carlos? Like, what?
Right.
And it's just like so jarring if you don't understand why it happens that way. Again, it doesn't make it right, but to understand why it's happening it's important to understand that. It's an important element to get why these things happen in these countries.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's all in Italy. It's all dependent upon blood, and when people start bringing up things that like logic and reason involving this, then they will change the rules, but a loophole will exist that will still exclude certain people of that population, and they will not change it. They won't change it because, like, for example, if you have an unbroken male line from Italy, we've talked about this before, Italy views it as you just have been born in the wrong country. Congratulations. Come on home. You're good. But if it's broken and the mother was born in Italy and did not give up her citizenship until after 1948, or had any children after 1948, then the kids don't count, right? But if they had kids after 1948, they do count. So, like, if the mom declared citizenship in, like, I don't know, 1940 or whatever, anything after that until 1948, the kids don't count. And they could change it. They could change it anytime they want to correct this obviously stupid error, but they won't change it. And it's all because the blood, the paternal line, it is everything. And it is the pride of Italy. And that's why Sicilians get looked down upon more so than just about anywhere else in the country, just because there is so much African influence and so much Arabic influence. Like, my last name is Alifi, obviously, but we trace our ancestors back to the year 800 when they first came to Sicily. The last name was Khalif. We were Arabic, and so when we were in Rome, me and my ex-wife, we were going into a store and we were looking at things, and these are all things we could afford, and we were dressing the part, and they said, "Oh, are you Americans?" Da da da. Oh, what's the last name? And just out of curiosity, shopkeepers making small talk, and they said, "Oh, my ex goes, oh, Leafy, oh, he's Sicilian." Automatically, the shopkeep takes 2 steps back, and these 2 other employees come out from the back and start observing me to make sure I'm not stealing anything, because they had a Sicilian in the store, right? According to a lot of people in the North, we're bandits, thieves, we're goons, we're mafioso, either that or we are illegal immigrants, one of the two. And so even within their own country, there's this major issue with bloodline. And that's why you will always hear people from Sicily say, "I'm Sicilian" before I'm Italian, because when your area is starved of economic resources and looked down upon like that, you take that pride, like that insular pride on who you are. And it's a major issue, and it's something they have to sort out, because it's starting to cause major issues politically for them in an already complicated space.
Brad says, "Sign me up for the Nick on Italy podcast. It's like Rick Steves with more footy."
Hey, if you guys want it, we'll do our best.
And this might be something we'll dig into another time. We got a bunch of other things to ask, but can you summarize real quick? Will says, what happened in 48? Why is 48 the issue here?
The Supreme Court in 48, the Italian Supreme Court gave equal protections and equal recognition of women and men under the law. And so because of that, before it was all through the male line, and then there was the gap that we talked about after that ruling, anybody born after 1948, you were okay. It also comes into play where there's another loophole where if you were married to an Italian man up until, I want to say, 1983, 84, your wife automatically became an Italian citizen. So my mom, when she married my dad, automatically became an Italian citizen according to their law. Even though she divorced, she still retains that citizenship. After, not anyone who married after had to go through the jure matrimonio, to where you had to do like what Suarez tried to do, where you have to go and you have to take a language test and you have to do all this other stuff to prove that you are invested in becoming an Italian citizen. And on a day when I'm sharper, I can go through all these laws like with the back of my hand. But if anyone out there is interested in learning about this, hit me up and I can point you to some resources online that can help you decide whether or not you want to do that. But there's socialized retirement, there's socialized medicine over there. You can buy property, you can start businesses and not have to pay the crazy taxes and all the stuff that they would charge a foreigner coming in and doing that. So,
are we still planning soccer over there to be based in Italy in the future?
One day.
Yes. That is
trips.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
When people ask me what
No
my
living,
10-year
sir.
plan is, it's to buy a villa in Sicily and to it's either that or in Padova, one of the two. I may have, if I can get enough Airbnb money, because I have a friend of mine actually from Poland who's going to go in with me on the one in Sicily, because apparently the Polish people love Sicily. So we are going to set up an Airbnb in Sicily, and then with the funding on that, I'm going to buy a spot in Padova near where my cousin's new vineyard is, which I love.
No, well, there you go.
That's because they live in Poland. The difference between Poland and Sicily is probably stark.
Oh, it's
Accurate.
yeah, radically different.
Okay, a couple things coming up on the show.
European snowbird.
Now that Jarrett is back with us, a couple things coming up. I'm going to have to step away in about 10 minutes. I'm going to talk on 92.9 The Game with John Chuckery, talk about Atlanta United, et cetera, et cetera. These guys are going to try not to break anything while I've stepped away. Luckily, they can't control the feed, so if they break anything, you guys are just going to have to deal with it. We will go through our picks from last week and see who won, if John actually did proper math. He didn't share it with us ahead of time, which makes me really question the results we're going to get. We're going to save that for the end of the show, and we'll make our picks for next week. We do have a little bit of this.
Mondays with Reddit.
Guess who is ranked number 199 in the world in Fantasy Premier League?
Nicholas Bentner.
Yes, it is. Thanks for playing along, John.
What we're here for? Because you didn't play the Mondays with Bentner music.
Kind of killed the whole bit there, but okay. Bentner, I guess he's given up playing for the old boys team at the third division club that he was at. He's now a pundit on Denmark's TV2, and he takes part in their fantasy league. His team name is Draft Lord because he's Lord Bentner.
Sure,
why not? He was ranked.
No, don't explain it. It's better if you just don't explain it.
He's named Lord Bentner. That's what they called him. 199th in the world in Fantasy Premier League, and he had no Arsenal players in his team a couple weeks ago. And people made a lot of comments about it. Nicholas Bentner, fantasy soccer legend.
Hid in the bathroom from Arsene Wenger.
And Thierry Henry, wasn't it?
And yeah.
Got drunk and lost a bunch of money and then won a bunch back. He wanted to fight Thierry Henry, I think.
And then ran away.
I thought it was that Thierry Henry wanted to fight him, so he ran and hid.
Probably both.
That's See, that just sounds incredibly dangerous. Thierry Henry just comes across like the kind of guy you don't want to catch those hands.
No.
He called Arsene Wenger a wanker, a W star 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 ER. I think we can say wanker over here, right?
Called him a winger?
I would say, I think we can do that, right?
I think we can.
Yeah.
I think we're good. We did it, so I think it's okay. Drunken $720,000 gambling binge left footballer almost broke.
Called him a welder?
Yes, he called him a welder. That's true. Jeez. Just go ahead.
You're about to leave this show.
Yes.
In John and mine and Nick's hands.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to deal with it now. Because it is time for the Conca Cinco! Go John Nelson!
We're going to spend a lot of time in Canada this week.
Not
For a couple of
fun.
different reasons.
I didn't
Now
get
start the
Tim
clock.
Hortons advertisement for any of
Yes.
this, John.
Now,
But
all right,
okay,
so
they're CONCACAF.
remember
Better than
last week?
Argentina being lumped into CONCACAF.
Yeah, well, hey, give it a shot. Trying to broaden our horizons a little bit. You remember when Christian Jack said last week that they had agreed on a date for the Canadian Championship? Well, the owner of Forge FC, Bob Young, who also owns the Hamilton Tiger Cats, says that the CPL champions will be playing the Canadian Championship final against Toronto FC at a disadvantage with that date of March the 20th because of quarantines and such. They would only have about 7 days worth of practice where Toronto FC would have a boatload more. So what Young has done, he has posted a letter to social media and he has kind of CC'd Canada Soccer on it. And so his biggest issue, obviously, is the prep time. And it includes a passage, quote, "Why would Canada Soccer propose a date to play this game where one of the teams had more than a month to practice and prepare for the game, and due to COVID restrictions, the other team only a week? They're proposing a date that, according to leading Canadian soccer coaches and medical personnel I've spoken to, would put one team's athletes at risk of injury and would certainly give the team that had been practicing an obvious and significant advantage," end quote. So what Young is proposing is a date of April 3rd to play the match, as opposed to the match being played on March the 20th. Yes. A week before the competition is supposed to start, that's when Bob Young wants to play.
No, a few days before.
So Bob Young is like, no, can we push it to like April 3rd? And so his letter is on social media. And Caretaker Bob, I believe, is his Twitter handle, if you want to read the whole thing in its entirety. Speaking of the Canadian Premier League, they have announced their salary structure for year 3 of the CPL. And right now they're looking at more and more transparency. Commissioner David Klanikin said in an interview that it needs to be done. And so here are some of the highlights for year 3 in the CPL. The league says this season each team will operate with a salary cap of 1.2 million Canadian, covering both players and coaching and technical staff.
What's
Player
that in U.S. dollars?
Let's see, 1.2. That would end up being 1.6. It's about 1.3 to the dollar. So add about a third. So like 1.6 million U.S.
Okay.
Would be a 1.2.
That drop in oil price has been a killer for the Looney.
That's a far bigger cap than I would have thought in the Canadian Premier League.
Player spending has to fall between $650 and $850, which is basically a little more like 60 to 70% of the whole cap. Coach and technical range for the remainder combined, the two must fall under 1.2. Cap includes salaries, housing and travel allowances, and individual player bonuses, but not league or club accomplishment bonuses, and that is in quotation marks. Okay. The league says on average the salary cap accounts for 57% of team revenue and could reach some 70% factoring in bonuses. The league also says on average that it takes more than $4 million a year to run a CPL team. When asked when the league might make a profit, Klanikin said, quote, "We're not there yet, that's for sure. We're going to be a few years into it. Our owners know that. They've invested around $60 million already in the league. We're in a long-term game here." So that's what you're looking at from the CPL.
2 minutes.
Down at Liga MX, we've had a couple of places that have allowed fans in because they're code yellow as opposed to code red. One of those was Mazatlan, home of what, Jason?
It's the Kraken, isn't it?
There you go, the Kraken. And so they're allowing up to 45% capacity in a stadium that seats around 25,000. They've yet to get to that 45% capacity, but they had a lot of fans there for the game this weekend. Santos Laguna, for the first time in almost a year, actually had fans in the building this past weekend as well for their game against Necaxa. Santi Munoz actually scored in the 38th minute for Santos Laguna's first goal on the board.
Un minuto!
Alajuelense still on top of the Costa Rican table, the Liga FPD. They are 8-4-0 after another win this week. Saprissa is second. They got a loss, and so 10 points back, 12 matches in. Alajuelense at 28 points. Their unbeaten string is still intact and could be 25 by the time they play Atlanta United in League One of CONCACAF Champions League. At the bottom of the table, it's Sporting San Jose, Perez Zeledon, and Deportivo Limon. Deportivo Limon, by far the most porous defense in the league, giving up 2 goals a match in the Costa Rican League and in the Honduran League to wrap things up. Olimpia beat Real España 1-0. Motagua beat UPN-FM. So your standings in the Liga Nacional de Fútbol Profesional de Honduras, Olimpia and Motagua up near the top of Group B. Olimpia 5-1-0, Motagua 5-0-1, 16 and 15 points respectively. And that is your Conca Cinco for this week as we await Kevin Patrick and the review on Monday night.
You're being questioned on the Twitch pitch, John.
Why?
1.2 million Canadian is not.
Oh, it's the other way.
Yes.
It's the other way. Okay.
It's about 950K, I think.
So I went the other way with my exchange rate.
Yes, you were being questioned.
So it's 2/3 as opposed to look at it as 2/3 as opposed to the 4/3.
Yes, $1 US is 127 Canadian.
Right.
Okay.
So I had that right, but my conversion was the other way.
Mm-hmm. That part's accurate. Also, I'm going to leave you guys with this while I step away. Thanks to Alex Pacine, and Alex, I'm sorry because Newcastle. I'm sorry.
Yes, we're sorry, Alex.
It's horrible. But Alex leaves us with this, and Jarrett, you're going to get to take the first shot at this. This is in the Daily Mail, and this is the headline. Former Rangers chairman Dave King insists ousting Mike Ashley regime was the key moment in club's journey to their first title in 10 years, and says Scottish football would have become a one-team league if Newcastle owner had stayed.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Jarrett? And
I mean, it was a one-team league for 9 years, mostly because Rangers didn't exist. And, never forget, Rangers made gestures toward and attempted to hire Derek McInnes away from Aberdeen in 2017 before they brought in Steven Gerrard. And you can go find the articles where it is implied by Mr. McInnes that it was a matter of being somewhere he felt wanted. A lot of that is because when we say Rangers was a tire fire during those years, it's a disservice to tire fires everywhere. It was apocalyptic. And then that's, coming into as you're going into the whole thing where they go into administration, you're coming off 3 or 4 years after you're making runs in Europa League consistently. This is coming off of, Rangers being, really dangerous. And then through administration and after administration, and, John, I know you know a bit about this as well. It almost seemed, and correct me if I'm wrong, it almost seemed from a distance like it was just wolves gathered around trying to pick scraps and just a bunch of parasites jumping in and out, trying to get what they could from it without any stability.
Well, and remember that Mike Ashley wanted to invest in Rangers, but part of the deal was that he would basically stash Newcastle players and treat Rangers as his own pipeline where he could shuttle players back and forth and sit there. It's like, no, I want my Newcastle players to be on the Rangers roster, and I'm going to invest X amount of dollars in Rangers, but I want a piece of the action. I want to own a third of it or whatever the percentage was. And then at the same time, I want my Newcastle players to be here and almost treat it like a farm club to where he could bring players from Rangers to Newcastle, even though they were already Newcastle property, and just kind of work them from one league to the other. Nick is already over it.
As the Army Air Corps once told the engineers before they put a car engine inside the P-51D, that ain't gonna fly.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and so this is what, like I said, this is what Mike Ashley wanted as a part of giving money to keep Rangers afloat when they were fighting administration and all of the folks at the door. And all you have to do, your Google search for today, Craig White, W-H-Y-T-E.
Jesus, no.
Craig White. He was the guy who set the tire fire on fire. And, I mean, this was like the whole junkyard. Craig White took a match to the tire fire and basically wimolated the junkyard that was Rangers at that point. I mean, this is how bad it was with Rangers. Craig White was, I mean, ooh, that's your Google search.
See,
the long and short of it being, yeah.
And see, that's the concern that I have with the current financial situation in England, is that it allows for more people like Mike Ashley to get involved because the bar's lowered. And it allows for hobby owners to come in and say, oh, I've been a fan of this club for my whole life. And then they come in and they have no real, because there's a difference between following your love and passion until it hits the bottom line. And when you start seeing that money evaporate from your bank account, then all of a sudden, maybe I'm not such a big fan after all. And situations like this where the global market is depressed, it allows the bar to be lowered and the entry point to be more easily accessed by these hobby owners and some of these goons. And I'm worried that we're going to get more Mike Ashleys because these clubs were ran like private piggy banks for a long time anyway. And it's, I'm sorry, Alex Basine, we don't need more Newcastles right now. You know, we don't need players like Miggy Almiron wasting their talents at a club that it could be so great if they had competent ownership, and instead, you're dealing with the Laserdisc madman. So, that's terrible what he did with Rangers. I appreciate the hustle that I'm going to have a club in the SPL, and I'm going to shuttle these players back and forth and have my own little pipeline and farm system. That's great. However, in practical application, I would say that's a bit problematic to use the corporate terminology that we've all been trained to use.
And this is a guy who buys Rangers in April of 2011. Everything falls completely apart in a little more than a year, ensuring liquidation in June of 2012. I mean, so you're taking a deal that was basically worth $28 million, $49 million if you add the Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Guy sells his controlling interest for £1, with the debt to Lloyd's being reassigned to the group that bought it for £1, and then it goes down and down and down from there and blows up and up and up and creates tire fire. So, I mean, it was an absolute mess, and I know that this will surprise, but Craig White was declared bankrupt in October of 2015 after all of this stuff. So
shocking.
Yeah, 3 years. So a year sends Rangers into liquidation. 3 years later, the guy, after going bankrupt once and having warrants issued for his arrest and all these kinds of things, 3 years later, the guy is issued as bankrupt. There you go. Craig White, W-H-Y-T-E.
In other words, it can always be worse if you think your team is in bad shape.
Yes.
Unless you're 2012 Rangers, in which case it got as bad as it can possibly get.
Yeah. See, this wouldn't happen in Italy because somebody would make a phone call and Guardia di Finanza would come in and raid the office of said person trying to purchase the club in the first place, and they would discover something. They would. I'm not saying things would be planted. I'm not saying that transactions would magically appear.
But information would be added strategically?
Sure. And I'm not saying it would even stand up in court, but the process would take long enough to ensure that you would miss whatever timetable needed to happen for you to take control of the club. So that they are the most feared police in Italy. Guardia di Finanza. They are the ones who, if you get in any sort of money trouble in Italy and they come knocking on your door, you want nothing to do with it. It's like the Spanish tax man. You want nothing to do with them.
Alex Basine on the
same
Twitch
win-loss
pitch.
record?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Alex Basine says that Newcastle is financially stable, though, because Ashley runs it like a business rather than a sporting endeavor.
I can't really argue with that. Now, here's the thing. Mr. Basine, I put this to you. Would you, in every business, there comes a point where you either stagnate or you have to invest to achieve some level of growth. I think we would agree that Newcastle is at the point where a little bit of investment would be needed. Can we agree at least upon that? And would we agree, furthermore, that Mr. Mike Ashley is not exactly the best person to engage in such investment?
So that will be the question for Mr. Basine. Yeah.
And for anyone else on the Twitch pitch who wants to chime in, by all means, you are welcome to chime in should you wish to do so.
And question to the floor, and we'll have to do a little digging. We'll have our research department look at this from Looney Tick. Has there been a discussion on what happened in the Chinese Super League? Hearing over 16 clubs have folded in their top 3 divisions in the past year.
The issues with Chinese money are very hazy because there's not a lot of optics into how they run their businesses and the manner.
A lot of optics into China in general, but okay.
Right. So if you look at the NFL, right, and I know you're like, wait a minute, we were talking about China. But if you look at the NFL, the only way we really know about the inner workings of the NFL's finances is through the Green Bay Packers and the fact that they're publicly owned, right? The only way, similarly, we can look into Chinese finances and what's happening over there, it's through their investments in Europe. So clubs like AC Milan, when they were owned by Yang Hong Lee, and Inter with the Suning Group, Yang Hong Lee blew $250 million in transfers, and then his money evaporated overnight. It was unbelievably shocking how quickly it went downhill, where Elliott Fund had extended an offer to delay. Yang Hong Lee said he could. I want to say it was like 60 or 70 million. Like he had to pay the interest payment on that, which you can imagine what the interest payment on a $250 million loan would be. But he missed it, and he kept missing payments. And then finally, Elliott took control. That was the canary in the coal mine that the Chinese investment in Syria may be going belly up. And Suning Group running out of money, which is largely viewed to be a far more stable operation, them running out of money really exposed the fact that the Chinese government is heavily limiting how their citizens can utilize their capital in other countries. There have been, and I can only go off of what I hear and what I read, and what we're hearing is that along the Italian coastline there are a lot of Chinese Instaports going in. So it looks like they may be changing their strategic investments from sporting to more real estate. And why would they put Instaports into the Mediterranean? Well, obviously it's one body of water which they share no natural border with, so
access
they need
points
to be able to move goods there and have a controlling interest. Because if you look at how China expanded geopolitically, and I know this is not geopolitics down here or over there, however, I try to nerd out as much as I can. You start to see this through Southeast Asia, where China will come in and say, we will build a port, we will build up all the infrastructure, and you will have to pay nothing. But the trade-off is we will put a fence around it. It is ours. You can't come in. You can't check us out. You can't boot us out. It's a 250, 300-year lease. These countries that are financially in trouble will say, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, yeah, well, you're paying me individually? Okay, sure, I'll take that money. So the Chinese come in and set up shop. You're starting to see this now on the coastlines in Italy and in Greece and a couple of other places where the Chinese are starting to expand. It stands to reason that they may say, hey, look, these foolish pursuits in sport are not really to our advantage. They tried investing a ton of money in their soccer infrastructure. They brought in players and coaches from the Italy 2006 squad to help lift that up. Fabio Cannavaro was, I want to say he was like the Guangzhou manager, if I remember correctly.
And you had Shanghai Shenhua bring in Carlos Tevez for £41.5 million a year.
Right. And so the idea was that they were going to go star heavy at the top and essentially do the old NASL. And again, just like the old NASL, that essentially was a free-for-all, you have teams that just sucked in all the players, and the rest of the people were left to flounder. China realized that this was a poor investment. It looks like they're getting out of the business, and I mean, they're not completely walking away from soccer in general, but they're certainly walking away from such heavy investment in soccer infrastructure and turning their pursuits to more, corporatized entities like real estate and so forth. So it looks like that's what's going on, but it's a little terrifying if you are a club right now like Inter, where your money is evaporating, especially in this time frame when there's not a lot of people sitting around with hundreds of millions of dollars on deck ready to spend, except for the Americans. So you have Americans that's why you have Americans who are investing more and more into Syria. And because the clubs can be had, the Chinese are essentially abandoning ship, and you can get a global entity, a global brand for, nickels on the dollar, not quite pennies at this point. But it's going to be very interesting to see. And that's something that has been happening for. You can sort of see the writing on the wall when they said, "Well, we're going to put on salary caps." It's like, wait, you're China? You don't really have to do that.
Yeah,
and then,
we're gonna decrease the number of foreign players. We're going to put on a salary cap. Remember though, you've got the Wanda Corp who had bought a stake in Atletico Madrid. Fosun is still a partner with Wolves. CEFC Energy is with Slavia Prague, and Suning is with Inter. So. It's still there, and China is also trying to get into the discussion for the 2030 World Cup. Mm-hmm. So, you have all of these other things at play, and so you wonder if it's them trying to get their athletic financing in order, if that makes any sense, so they can be a corporate partner and be a sporting partner in 2030.
I think they recognized a fundamental issue in that. Look at England, for example. When England was trying to get the World Cup and Qatar came out of nowhere and stole it, what did England have? They had, hands down, outside of Germany, the best infrastructure in the world for soccer. They had celebrities. David Beckham was there. They had, Prince William showed up. I mean, he's a bum, whatever. But so Prince William was there. They went all in, and it was for nothing, because Qatar came in and said, "Hi, we have bags of money. You should give us the World Cup." And then they were like, "Cool, we'll give you the World Cup for bags of money." I mean, that's what happened, and I think maybe China's reevaluating their arithmetic here and saying, maybe we can spend our money elsewhere and get that World Cup here. We're not going to get it through foreign investment in teams, but what if we invest with foreigners directly, and maybe we could, get a little more juice that way. I think it's very wise for them to do so. But it is interesting to see the sudden reversal of policy from them on this.
All right, so Jarrett, question to the floor from J.W. Parker, and he says, so should teams like Wolves and Southampton be concerned because of this?
I mean, depends on how you're operating. So let's remember that the team who finishes dead last in the EPL that gets relegated makes, what is it, about 8 or 9 times more per year on that end of year than the team who wins the championship.
Yeah, I think it was a $90 million parachute payment last time.
Something like that. It's something stupid. Whereas if you win the championship, it's about the same. I think it's about the same as if you win Scotland. It's not that much. It's like 9 or 10. It depends how you run your club. If you're running your club, if you're out in the middle of the ocean and you are like just throttled down, you're trying to make it to New York early so you can pop up in the papers, and you don't make it, you're kind of up a creek. I think it just depends on how you're running your club. Are you just emptying the tank to try and get back to the top flight for that money? And if you don't make it, you got problems. Can you get there without taking those insane risks? Who's capable of doing that? Who's capable of consistently doing it? And especially when your idea is, we're going to gamble everything we have on this hand, because if we get it, then, we're getting 10 times more next year. Even if we get blasted next year, we're getting 10 times more. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's over. That's like over a couple of years. It's not like a $90 million immediate. It's that figure it's over a couple of seasons. It's like decreasing.
At least you got it coming.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Helps with creditors when you know it's guaranteed money coming.
Yeah,
that check's going to clear.
Yes,
it's a lot of it is still on this idea of like, just the TV payments from EPL are the great equalizer, but it just depends, I think, on how you're running your club, is if you should be worried. We've gone over it before, like clubs like Norwich. I'm not really worried about Norwich. Yeah. They just kind of do their thing. They'll bob back and forth.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know about clubs like Wolves. I don't know if they should be worried or not. I mean, it just depends on how they're running things. I mean, are you going to – because we were worried about teams running themselves into the ground in championship and in League One because of the way they operated outside of their means. I had my concerns about Rangers. Rangers was kind of, for lack of a better analogy, kind of selling futures on themselves earlier this year. It's working out just fine for them, but I mean, it can get risky though. So I mean, just especially as you're talking about, you might not have that money coming in from outside. Probably not coming from China. You want to try and get money from the Middle East? Good luck. I mean, good luck having it not get shot down when everyone has to vote on it. Where are you going to come from? You going to go see if Jerry Jones is going to pony up into Wolves or something?
God.
Well, look, I mean, it's part of the process now where if you want to compete at the highest levels, you're going to have to shake hands with people you may not want to shake hands with. And in the early to mid 2000s, it was Russian oil money. If you wanted to do business and put nitrous on your club to get them to the top, hi Chelsea, you had to get Russian oil money coming in. If you wanted, in the late 2000s, if you wanted to do anything, you needed more of the Middle East oil money coming in. And now it's American money because American money is more stable. And the challenge with this, that teams like Roma and Spezia and Parma and Fiorentina are going to, and Milan, I mean, Elliot's an American company, they have no ties to the city. They have no ties to the history of the club. It is an asset that was purchased. Liverpool, Man United, assets that are part of a larger portfolio.
LeBron James ain't a Liverpool native, y'all.
Shocking. And as long as that money keeps paying out, they're going to be there. But if there are challenges, you may see your fortunes turn dramatically because, like any good business, and Alex Pacine said it, Newcastle runs their stuff like a business.
And he also admits they're a disaster.
Right. But at the same time, not all businesses are run well, as we see. Not all businesses receive continued investment over time. So the hot investment today may not be the hot investment tomorrow. And that is the only thing that concerns me about American ownership. It's not the Jerry Joneses of the world. Look, the Cowboys and their fans drive me crazy. But Jerry Jones, when he says, well, the Cowboys are out to win the Super Bowl, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to win the Super Bowl. He means it with his DNA has Super Bowl tattooed on the various different amino acids.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have general manager tattooed on his amino acids.
Correct. So, but when the Friedkins take over Roma and they're like, "It is we want to win the Scudetto," yeah, I don't really believe you. I think you want to do it because it would make your brand profitable, not because you want for the pride of Rome, or with the difference with Juve and Exor, and the fact that a bunch of Italian Americans run that is that they are tied to the Agnelli name. There's a very strong. Gianni Agnelli was avvocato. He was the man who resurrected Italy post World War II. There's a tie there. None of these guys have ties to these clubs. I mean, Roman Abramovich's psychotic need to win at everything is what keeps Chelsea going. The minute he gets tired of that and he bolts, it'd
be interesting to see who picks up Chelsea from Roman Abramovich.
I'm just saying, it's
Kroenke, come on down.
I would tell anyone who is high on a club right now, and I'm not calling out anyone by name. I'm not calling out a particular club by name, but if you are a newer fan of a club, I would suggest that you find clubs in lower divisions that you can get down with, where you want to invest your love and time and passion, and then use your big-time upper league club as your banter league, like your banter club, right? The one that says, ha, 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 our club won this weekend.
Yeah, we beat you.
Yeah, we beat you. But then invest all your time and money and energy into either your MLS club or your USL club or a lower division down. Because if you want the club, I hear all these people, these purists talking about we want it's what's good for the club. Look,
it's what's
you're
best
going
for
lower
business.
division. Yeah, you're going lower division. This is a business now. You have to treat it like a business. All right, wait your hate now.
He's back.
Are we starting the race?
Yes,
game show.
We are starting a race, and we are starting a race about who will be Aberdeen's manager for the first league match of 2021. 2022, there are odds on this.
Oh, boy. Where's Neil Lennon land?
We're going to work backwards. Enzo Mascara, 20-1. Scott Booth, John Collins, not the John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks, I hope. Darren Fletcher, all 16-1. Paul Lambert, David Robertson, 14-1. Danny Cowley, 12-1. Scott Gemmell, Derek Adams, 10-1. Neil Lennon, 8-1.
There he is.
Keep going.
Jim Goodwin, 8-1. Gordon Strachan, 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Sheeran, 6-1. Stephen Robinson, 5-1. And your favorite, according to Mick Bookie, Stephen Glass, 4-1.
Can I just take a moment here to say how much that would suck for Atlanta United too, though?
It would suck a lot for Atlanta United too.
I would be over the moon to see Glassy get that gig because he is a legend. I mean, the man is the man's got Aberdeen in his blood, I think, and that'd be awesome. It'd suck for Atlanta United. I
was going to say it would be awesome, but
it'd be bittersweet,
right?
Because I think he did really good work with helping George Campbell take that jump We saw guys like Will Riley. We've seen guys like Jackson Conway. And that's not to take away from what we saw last year under Tony Annan, but a lot of the work they do is a lot of hands making light work, and it's Tony Annan working with those guys through the academy, and then handing them off to Stephen Glass, and they still work in training, but Stephen Glass has done well with those kids. Go back and watch the 2019 game. I was going to say 2018. Scott was in charge of the team at that point, but go watch a game in 2019 or 2018, and then watch what this team did in limited play last year.
Yep.
It's a team's better. They've got you're seeing those guys come through the system, and you're seeing them get the identity, and you're seeing a bunch of kids, but they're not playing like kids anymore. They don't give a damn who's on the other side of the field. There might have been times in the past where you can see that these are kids playing adults, and those kids know they're playing adults. They don't look like they care anymore. And I give a lot of that to the coaching staff and to the academy staff. So it would be bittersweet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to... If it's a big opportunity, and it would be,
Oh, he should take it 100%. Don't get me wrong.
Well, he should consider it. I mean, you got to know what you're walking into. And, Aberdeen is not in a bad place. Aberdeen has handled the pandemic fairly well financially, but they have been hurt by it. They have work to do. I mean, Dave Cormack, took over, probably a horrible time for him. He wasn't really able to build. He had to kind of keep the pieces together. So it's an interesting one. Brad Martin asks real quick before we move on to a few other things. Jarrett, Scottish League, who's considered to have the best development academies?
Oh, dude. I feel like you get a lot out of Hibbs. You'll get
I was thinking Hibbs.
Hibbs will develop a lot. Hamilton Academical does a good bit of development as well. I thought under McGinnis that Aberdeen actually had a lot of guys develop.
Mm-hmm. That's why Glass would be attractive to Aberdeen, is to continue on bringing guys through.
Yeah, you've got a lot of good young players. Honestly, Celtic and Rangers develop a lot of good young players, and they loan players out to those other clubs and kind of ask them to, hey, we know they're not going to get minutes with us. Maybe they can get minutes with you and see if they can develop. So it's one of those things where you are asking a lot of times. It is the Hibbs and the St. Johnstones and the Hamilton Academicals. You're asking them, hey, develop some of these kids with your reserve team and with your first team for us. And you get guys who are coming through our academy. They'll play well. Maybe we move them like a Lewis Morgan down the road. Maybe you get like a Scott Allen who was supposed to go to Rangers, ended up going to Celtic. It's kind of floated around. You've seen now Tony Watt, who comes through Celtics academy, scored against Barcelona in the historical win, and kind of floats around. Now he's just, I think he's at St. Mirren now, if I'm not mistaken. He's at St. Mirren or Hibbs. And, guys who are, you'll get even later in their career, get a second chance at development. So it's all over the place, but yeah, Hibbs does a really good job of it. I think Aberdeen does too. And to your point, Jason, that's one of the things I think makes mutual attraction for a guy like Stephen Glass.
Yeah, for sure. All right, John, I need you to mute your mic real quick because you're going to have to do some research on what could join our pantheon of teams that we support on soccer down here. From the Gaucho League in Brazil, Novo Hamburgo. I'm guessing New Hamburg, except it's in Brazil. I need answers, John. John's working on it. He's probably pounding on the keyboard right now. We will check our scores from last week on our picks, and we will make our picks for next week here in just a bit. I have not seen Kevin Patrick on my television yet.
I have not either. Raw.
Who do you think is the first wrestler who gives him like the shake up welcome to the party?
Oh, somebody's going to lay hands on Kevin Patrick tonight is what I'm thinking.
Drew McIntyre?
It's possible.
Drew's lit up right now because of Rangers. That dude is a Rangers
true.
fan through and through. He is going to be on a different level tonight.
I was thinking they might have him do something with Ron Killings, because that would just be hilarious.
Yes.
And I hope it happens on a regular basis.
24/7.
I need this to happen.
Yes.
I don't know who his first interview is going to be.
I want to see who the first guy is who grabs him by the collar. Who grabs him by the lapels and
maybe it's Sheamus, because he just
Could be
cleaned
Sheamus.
out Drew McIntyre.
Could be Sheamus. He's very angry about his beloved Liverpool these days.
Yes, Sheamus is walking angrily at the moment.
DM10
He did
says,
cut a promo for Celtic back in the day too. So
DM10 says
even more reason
Kevin.
to be angry.
He says Kevin just seems too nice for wrestling. That's the thing about it. It's so different than it used to be. Like now, it's a business. I mean, it's a touring entertainment live show business. Except you can't do live shows right now, but they're doing the best they can with making.
It is a vaudeville show, is what it is now.
It's not. It's not the carny kind of thing it was before. I mean, these guys like play video games backstage,
Right.
like they're businessmen and women. Like they think
Right.
about their brand. Like it's not the party ridiculousness that it was even like 20 years ago.
Right.
So I think he'll be just fine. I'm looking forward to it. It's so funny. Very cool he got the announcement. Very cool, a lot of people were hyped up about it as well. So I'm waiting to see what his first segment will be. Because usually they try to break guys in with something ridiculous. So
Yeah.
Because Vince is watching this and he's going to be like, good God, these numbers out of Atlanta are tremendous. Get me ratings. Put them on everything.
He's going to call Ted Turner and is this what you were seeing every week?
That's right.
all right, John, tell us about Novo Hamburgo.
All right. On May 1st, 1911,
Wow, they're
employees
old.
of Adams Footwear Factory founded an association. And that day, during the celebrations of the Workers' Day, as it used to happen every year, took place a social gathering event between the employers and employees of the factory. After the barbecue ended, they always played football. And 2, 4, 6 of the gentlemen decided to found a football club. The suggested name was Adams Football Club, but the name they chose was Sport Club Novo Hamburgo, later named to Esporte Club Novo Hamburgo. As Brazil entered World War II in 1944, joining the Allies side, Novo Hamburgo had to change its name as it was of German origin. Novo Hamburgo means New Hamburg. The city was renamed to Marechal Floriano Peixoto, and the club turned into Esporte Club Floriano. In 1968, the club reverted to its previous name.
Well, wait a minute. I don't understand. Did they just randomly picked New Hamburg? Like they were with the Adams Shoe Company?
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to call it that, and they just, no, we're going to be New Hamburg?
Well, they're from the city of Novo Hamburgo in Rio Grande do Sul.
Okay. Thank you. That was probably a very important part.
Yes.
Now I understand.
Current squad is all Brazilian. They have 11 titles to their name.
What level?
Trivia.
Hold on. What level first?
Various. Campeonato
level
Gaucho
now?
Campeonato Gaucho in 2017. They are in the Campeonato Brasil Serie D.
That's the part I was looking for. So 4th division in the national pyramid. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so they won the Campeonato Gaucho in 2017. That was their most recent title.
Okay.
Before that, it was 2 Copa Metropolitanas and a Copa FGF back in 2013. Here's your trivia.
Trophies. What's the trivia?
The famous player Garrincha played once for Novo Hamburgo. On July 2nd, 1969, he wore the number 7 of the club. The friendly played at Ibarra Rio Stadium, ended 3-1 in favor of Internacional. He played the whole first half and the first 15 minutes of the second. They have 2 ultras groups, Fogo Anil and Torcida Independiente Mancha Anil.
Okay.
So there you go. And the club's mascot is an anthropomorphic shoe.
And what?
Yes.
What?
They meet the requirements.
What is it
Club's
again?
mascot is an anthropomorphic shoe, as Novo Hamburgo is known for its shoe industry.
Could you tell us a little bit more about why it's not just a shoe?
Anthropomorphic attributions of human traits, emotions, or intentions to non-human entities, considered to be an innate tendency of human psychology.
It's a shoe with, feet and eyes? What is it?
I'm trying to find it. I just see a crest in all of the images.
Waiting to find out.
Is it like the shoes off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Is that what's going on?
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh no!
Well, what is it?
I will be posting a link to a photo in both the Twitch and the Discord.
Is the anthropomorphic shoe wearing shoes? Badger asks.
Why, yes, the anthropomorphic shoe is.
Well, that's why I assumed why it wasn't just a shoe, that it had to be a shoe with like feet wearing other shoes.
Is it in this world? Is it wearing children?
No, but it looks like if Colonel Sanders' face was on a shoe sole.
This is the greatest thing ever. Oh my god!
So what is it?
It's the sole of a shoe with a mustache
with Colonel Sanders' face on it.
This is amazing.
Yes.
Oh my god! Yes. This is ridiculous.
Oh,
I love Brazilian football. It's the greatest thing ever.
There's like 85.
The Soccer Over There Discord, there's a link to the photo.
DM Tim says it looks like Mr. Peanut's long-lost brother.
Yeah, about right.
Speaking of shoes, I posted Bologna manager Sinisa Mihailovic wearing the freshest Jordan 1s ever. The white and the Carolina blue. That's on Twitter.
Those are pretty strong.
We are across mediums. We're
crossing. It's amazing.
He had a run-in from Drew McIntyre in the beginning of Sheamus's match.
It's amazing.
Yes, Pacine, that
this
club
looks like
that club has
this
golf.
shoe looks like the personification. Like if somebody made a shoe out of the old Brazilian man from the World Cup who was clutching his trophy while they were getting destroyed by the Germans.
Yes, which was one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
It really was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. I felt so bad for him. I keep waiting to find out that a team in either Central America or Eastern Europe, that's where my money is there's got to be at least one team somewhere in some small country in a lower division that is illegally using Izzy from the 1996 Olympics as their mascot.
Well, this is pretty close, except it's like if Izzy was like 75 years old and had a mustache.
No, this looks nothing like Izzy. No, don't besmirch Izzy with that kind of talk.
Izzy needs to be walking the sidelines at Atlanta United games.
Yes, I'd be fine with that. Bring him back.
Yes.
I'm completely. Is it a him? Do we know that?
I would assume with a mustache, perhaps.
No, not the shoe, John. Izzy.
Oh, that I have no idea.
Did Izzy have a gender?
Izzy to walk out and walk in front of the bench in front of all of the South American players, most of whom were too young for the 96 games, and just somebody try to explain that to them in 2 sentences.
Nope.
No, not happening. This is the greatest.
What's that? That's Atlanta. Don't worry about it.
I will still fight. I will engage in Thunderdome activities over what is it though? Over Izzy, I will Thunderdome. Like we can go chainsaw to chainsaw, blood by the gallons over what is it? We can go. I'm just letting people know.
You can get an emulator and play the. I'm sorry. I should preface this. Do this legally. Buy the actual cartridge, and then you can set it up to do an emulator for the the Sega Genesis Izzy's Quest for the Olympic Rings game, which was a Rush development platformer that played like a slower version of Sonic the Hedgehog without the fun fast parts. You just jumped around.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we could do things. What was the Twitch pitch chiming in with at this point?
Oh, they are all over the place.
People, we've gone down mascot rabbit holes, and I'm gonna throw one more into the mix because it came up when I looked up this mascot for Novo Hamburgo, and that's really good. But when I see a picture of something that I'm kind of a little afraid of, and I'm like, well, what's the story behind that one? And it says, Mascotte do Nautico, which is a 3rd division club right now. Club Nautico Capibaribe. Timbu de Chernobyl.
No!
Timbu, their nickname, it's a white-eared possum.
Okay. When you said capybara, I thought that was where it was.
I'm here.
No, I didn't say anything about that.
I'm excited. Possums.
But then the headline of this thing is, and it's in Portuguese, which is a little difficult for me. I will translate. The mascot of Nautico, the club, Timbu de Chernobyl, goes... Chernobyl. Chernobyl.
Like Ukrainian power plant?
Yes. Timbu de Chernobyl goes viral on the internet. The nickname that they gave their big new furry mascot thing, Timbu. I guess they brought a Timbu, a white-eared possum, out in a white-eared possum suit. They went with the traditional mascot you see at games. And I think the club's fans said that it was a possum who had lived at Chernobyl. Because he looks a little scary.
You don't see a white-eared possum outside of a Goofy movie, just to be fair.
I'm just going to share this article. It is in Portuguese, but you get pictures. And I think I agree with the fans of this club. It looks like a possum that hung out at Chernobyl. It's a little scary, and I might have nightmares tonight. But it does link
it have
to
nondescript cancerous lumps all over him, because that's what would happen if he hung out at Chernobyl.
The ears might. I'm not ruling it out, Jarrett.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And then they shared other weird mascots around Brazil, because I have not dug into the Brazilian mascots before, and they have a shark with a really small waist, and it's really weird looking. They have our friend Pequente, the symbol of New Hamburg. It's the sole of a shoe. I don't even know what that is.
I couldn't tell you.
It's an onion, but it's like it's like a really weird face of an onion. It doesn't look like a happy onion.
No.
And he's just wearing the crest and shorts and boots. That's a strange outfit. Then a fox that might have been hanging out with the possum at Chernobyl.
Yes, exactly.
A ripoff of Big Bird, I think, kind of, in stripes. Sure. Brazil's a weird place, man.
We have to get Rodrigo back on to discuss.
We need to talk mascots in Brazil, because I am incredibly scared, and I'm going to have nightmares now.
I just want to know how you're to be in the brainstorm, the design brainstorm for that one with the nuclear possum.
You unveiled.
We can't just have a possum.
You unveil Timbu. You've been working on Timbu for a long time. You're excited to bring Timbu out in front of the crowd.
And you get that.
And people, no, you created that. You created it and thought it was good, and you brought it out, and the fans said it's Timbu of Chernobyl.
Uh-huh.
And he's your mascot of your club.
Yeah, that's got to go over well for your psyche.
No, you'd probably need to fire the marketing team.
Guys,
it's probably the same marketing team who did.
It's a possum. It's a beneficial animal. Okay,
He's good.
Beneficial. It does things for the community. It's a part of nature.
It eats trash. It eats your trash.
The nature, and it does. And the first person chimes in. Don't they play dead if you walk near them? They collapse and they play dead. Okay, so we have to make it more aggressive. How do we make it more aggressive? I think mutants are kind of a thing right now, right?
Veins on the ears. Let's do that.
So all I'm saying is the first season of Letterkenny is the best description of a possum you're ever going to get.
Oh, jeez. Canadian weirdness.
There's a cold open in one of the episodes that's just a horrifically good description of possums in general. I just assumed the same person who made this is the people they contract to do mascots of lower division Scottish teams, because some of those are just terrifying.
See, for anyone out there who wants to do PR for a living and they're like, man, I really don't have the chops to do it. This is proof that all you have to do is just talk a good game. That's it. Somebody got paid to come up with Possum de Chernobyl. Somebody got paid to come up with the Street Sharks mascot. And then somebody got paid to come up with Colonel Sanders' shoe sole.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got paid for that.
Colonel Sanders with a foot fetish.
You can...
Yeah,
that's
not wrong.
Really upsetting, Jared. Thanks.
That's Tarsel's looking good.
Yep, that's some original recipe foot looking there.
Yeah.
Jared. Good grief.
Nasty.
Uh-huh.
Good
So
grief.
you can get paid for this. Just have better ideas than that. It's not hard.
There are some
Just have those
ridiculous
ideas.
mascots.
You could
We've
raise
lost
the bar.
Jason.
Like,
Jason's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He went down the rabbit hole.
There's like an anteater. There's dinosaurs. There's a guy in like a silver pantsuit kind of thing with a bird head.
Is that like Max Headroom but with a bird?
Actually, it kind of does look like a take on Max Headroom. It's really
Yeah.
weird. The
We just
onion,
lost everyone under the age of 35.
the onion guy keeps popping up. I mean, Brazil's weird, man. All right,
as someone who has run around in a mascot costume in a past life, that stuff's exhausting. Oh,
Yeah.
good God! Especially on a hot day.
yeah,
I couldn't do it in Brazilian climate.
no.
No.
I'm just
I used to have
gonna.
to get out there and run around in Atlanta on like after it rained in the summer, and I wasn't about that life.
All right, we got
Getting
picks
beer
coming
poured
up.
on
We
the
got
field.
we got scores to go back on. We got all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I got to get out of here, too.
Nick's got to
So
get
let's
out
go.
of here. I will share real quick a couple reactions from the Twitch pitch. No, please no.
Yes.
Yeah, the ear veins were a bad choice. That's like Chuck E. Cheese on crack.
Uh-huh. Yeah, not wrong.
It's on crack!
Yeah. That those are all very accurate.
Chuck E.
And-
Cheese is going to pop up in like Eastern European countries and mascot too, isn't he?
Yes. Badger says it's a shame that Dr. Scholes didn't get Novo Hamburgo's mascot to make appearances.
True.
They need Dr. Scholes on the front.
Especially
of their
for the orthopedic shoes.
Yes, they need that. Okay, John, you did math. We don't know if it's accurate. First off, from our picks last week,
Yep.
just number of picks correct. Let's start
Yes.
there.
Okay. You with your draw variant had 2.
I had 2.
You were 2 and 4.
2 and 4. I'll take that.
Jarrett was 3 and 3.
That's crap.
Nick was 4 and 2.
That's garbage.
And I was 5 and 1.
That's horrendous. You cheated.
Oh, look what you get for playing it safe.
But did you win the money line side of it? Or do you know?
I had I was like at 4-11.
You were 4-11 to the good.
Yes.
Okay.
You were 2-11 to the good, Jason.
Yeah, I think I had one that was kind of a wild one.
You had the Schalke Mines draw, and everybody else did not. And
Wait a minute. I missed 4, though. How am I 2-11 to the good? It wasn't that good.
But it was a plus 252.
Yeah, that's still.
And then you had the draw for Atleti and Real at a plus 234.
So that's the 100 getting it back. So 334 plus, what was the other one?
252.
So 352, and I lost 400 on the others. Yeah, okay. I think you did the math correctly, roughly off the top of my head.
And then Jarrett was a plus 127, and Nick was a plus 108.
Okay.
Wow.
Good job, John. And I
clear
think
the bar.
Way to go, John.
I think you did the math correctly. I think.
Hey.
It's close, and I'm not going to go through and double check him. It's close enough. It's a step in the right direction, okay?
So there you go.
All right.
You got your 6 games, so now it is 2 weeks for Jason, 1 week for me.
Nick's got one, too.
And Nick's got 1, too.
Jarrett has 0. He's got nothing.
That's okay. I don't need anything.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. We've got Champions League back, which means we dig into the Champions League. But we're going to do what we did last week, 1 game per day.
Okay.
So, for tomorrow in the Champions League, we are going to take the result from Borussia Dortmund hosting Sevilla. John, do you have numbers available?
For the League of Champions.
Yes. Borussia Dortmund hosting Sevilla. Dortmund won the first leg 3-2. They are hosting the second leg.
Dortmund is a plus 124 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Your draw is a plus 266. Sevilla is a plus 215.
John, you as the winner, you get started off. What are you picking? You're just picking this game. You're not thinking the aggregate. You're not thinking any of that. It's just the result.
No, just this game. I'll go Dortmund.
You're going Dortmund to win at home.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I was next in the money part, so I will go. Sevilla's been a bit of a mess. Dortmund has got to bounce back after getting spanked after scoring twice in 10 minutes. I do think they respond. I will go Dortmund as well. Nick.
Erling Haaland, Dortmund.
Jarrett.
I'm going to be different and take the draw.
Okay.
All right.
It's a smart play. You got to do that from time to time. That's why we bounce around and different people pick first, and we have these possibilities. I'm going to go on Wednesday with a interesting pick because of the aggregate, because we're picking this result. PSG hosting Barcelona. You're not picking if Barcelona can overturn the 4-1. You are picking the game on Wednesday. It's an interesting one because Barcelona could absolutely win this but not go through. It is in Paris. Jared.
PSG.
Okay, so Jarrett will go first. Give us the numbers.
PSG is a plus 119. The draw is a plus 313. Barca a plus 193.
Jarrett?
I'm really tempted to take Barcelona in this. I'm going to take a draw here. I like that draw number, and I think Barcelona is going to do some scoring, but I think they're going to open it up so much to do so, they're just going to get sliced a couple times, and we end up with what could be a fun game, like a 2-2 game, with Pochettino getting real mad about having given up 2 goals, but I'll take the draw.
Okay. Nick?
This one is actually really tough because I'm expecting Barcelona to get a bump. Presidential elections are behind them. Club drama is getting out of hand. Was getting out of hand. Now is hopefully a thing of the past. But I will say that keep in mind that PSG fans apparently have unveiled a banner attacking Shakira, and before the matchup, nobody comes after Shakira. Yeah. PSG ultras have they had a banner besmirching the good name of Shakira. I will not allow this.
That is not okay.
I'm going to take Barcelona to avenge the rightful good name of the honorable woman known as Shakira.
I love it!
Me too, Barcelona.
Me 3, Barcelona.
They called her a prostitute.
What?
Whoa.
Respect Shakira trends on Twitter as prostitute banner emerges before PSG play Barcelona.
Right.
Give me Barca and the points.
Yeah, we're
fighting
fighting
Paris
PSG
now. All right, call Eric Ludendorff. Let's get the Paris gun back out.
We are fighting PSG. That is awful.
That ain't right.
That is not right at all. I think Barcelona wins, and I think they are honorably eliminated with a win here. They play well, but it's not enough to overturn the 4-1. I think that's what happens.
Oh, but imagine if they do, though.
Oh, it would be amazing. It would be so amazing.
You would have to, you might have to cease PSG's operation, burn the place down, perform some rituals, and rebuild it.
If that thing gets, 2-0 Barca at halftime, if you're working, you need to leave. You need to put that game on because crazy things will happen in the last 45 minutes if it's close at halftime or if Barca's got a couple goals.
Messi just stands in front of the camera and does the Night King, with the arms slowly raising.
Jeez.
Hell, Barca scores in the first 10 minutes. It deserves your attention.
Yeah, it absolutely does. If Barca has 1 goal at halftime, it'll be ridiculous. I hope that is completely ridiculous.
Nobody calls Shakira a prostitute in my town.
Yes, I am hoping for La Remontada dos. Burned. Let's go to the Europa League for Thursday. We got a lot of games to pick from. Nick, I'm not going to make you pick Manchester United Milan. That would be rude. Jared, I'm not going to make you pick Slavia Prague and Rangers. That would also be rude.
That's going to be fun. Bull crap.
No, I'm going with the.
I've been an honest guy.
I'm going with the most fun game of the Europa League. The most fun.
Man United Milan's going to be fun.
It will be, but
Ajax
there's one that's
Young
more
Boys.
fun. Ajax and Young Boys will be the absolute fun. It is in the Netherlands. Ajax is hosting Young Boys in the first leg of the round of 16. What are the numbers, John?
Ajax minus 156 at home. Your draw's a plus 316, and Young Boys are a plus 409.
Give me Young Boys to win. I'll go out on that limb.
Right.
John.
What?
Pick. Make a pick, John!
Oh, I said draw.
Okay, thank you. I think your audio cut out when you said that.
Draw.
Thank you. Jeez. You just kept
The
grinning and
over.
looking away. I was like, what are you doing? Yes, definitely take the over. Nick.
Yeah, Ajax. Thanks.
Okay. Jarrett.
Ajax.
All right. That's fine. Y'all are going to be crying when I got plus 400 juice boxes.
Oh, okay, USA.
Y'all will be crying. All right.
Poker.
Now we got Friday. And we're getting into some...
Friday.
No, we're not doing that, John. We're not doing that at all.
Are there things that make you angry?
Yes, there are. Yes.
Fred, we want to talk about it.
Yes, there are things.
Fred, we
that
got
make
some
me
thoughts.
angry.
Crying.
There are things that make me very angry, Fred.
All right, David Banner.
Yes, it's bad. Okay. We got to pick a game from Friday. There's not a lot of great options here. That one's not good at all. Damn it. I think we're going to have to go with it. Newcastle hosting Aston Villa. Let's do it. Friday. Newcastle and Villa. Alex Bassine, I apologize in advance.
Jason chose violence.
I did. There's not a lot of other picks on Friday. What are the numbers, John?
Newcastle plus 280. The draw plus 259. Aston Villa even money at a plus 100.
It is at St. James's Park. Does Newcastle get a much-needed win or even a point that would probably make Steve Bruce very happy because he seems to hate fun? Nick, you pick first. Alex Bassine just says, I hate it
There's
here.
nothing here that tells me that Newcastle's going to win this game.
Alex, I'm sorry, man.
Nothing.
Sorry, Alex.
I'm sorry. Do they get a point, though? Because Steve Bruce likes the point. He was very happy with a point against West Brom.
No. If
thrilled.
you're an Aston Villa fan and you're in money trouble right now, you call up you say, look, mortgage person, money's coming. Just put your money down. Put your money down.
So Aston Villa to win.
Aston Villa's going to win.
On the road.
Bet the farm.
All right. I think Steve Bruce gets his point.
Wow.
I think it's
Okay.
a draw.
Sure.
John?
I bet Nick's farm on Aston Villa.
Okay. Jarrett?
Aston Villa in the most unenjoyable victory you've ever seen in your life.
Amen.
Like Aston Villa gets one early, and Steve Bruce just decides, like, well, we can't let them get any more of those, and he plays like a 5-5 the rest of the game.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid that Alex Bassine is drinking. 3 false 10s. We got it. They get a point.
3 false. Their formation is going to look like the movie Mighty Ducks with the flying V.
Oh, it's bad. And John, I need a correction sounder. I need like some button that lets us know when something's being corrected on the show. Ropes calls you out. Says only John would reference the 70s Hulk TV show. His name is Bruce Banner.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, wow. You go, what? Okay, whatever. When you were wrong and you got called out on it.
No, on the TV show, he was David Banner.
On the TV show, now we've got to check ropes.
No, on the TV show, he was David. Did not want him to be named Bruce Banner.
I did not know the reference, and I knew John was not talking about the rapper David Banner.
No.
Because John doesn't even know who that is.
Nope.
Or what state he's from or anything like that.
Yeah, Dr. David Banner in the TV show.
Right. They had a problem with the name Bruce. They had a problem with the name Bruce.
They gave him David Bruce Banner in the show.
Oh, so you're both kind of right.
No. Because they called him David. They only called him David.
Dr. David Banner. You remember the open Dr. David Banner?
I don't remember it, John.
Yeah. And so you had David Banner, and then Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk, right?
Yeah.
But they had some issue with I'm trying to remember what the challenge was. They had a major issue with the name Bruce, though. Like a TV exec was like, "You will not make the hero of this story Bruce Banner." And they're like, "It's in the comic." He's like, "I don't care."
Wow, what a rabbit hole! I didn't expect this one to pop up tonight.
Right. Sorry. I used to watch a lot of
So Hulk's comic book alter ego was Dr. Bruce Banner, and they changed it to that for the TV series. The change was made because he didn't want the series to be perceived as a comic book series. So the change was made of a staple of comic books, and Stan Lee's comics in particular, that major characters frequently had alliterative names. So according to both Stan Lee and Lou Ferrigno, it was also changed because CBS thought the name Bruce sounded too gayish, and that's in quotes in Wikipedia. A rationale that Ferrigno thought was the most absurd, ridiculous thing he'd ever heard.
We have a ridiculous goal in Argentina, and River is losing to Argentinos Juniors 1-0 in the 90+2. Cesar Florentin with the goal. It dipped a lot, according to Byrne, on the Twitch pitch, and River might be going into the Super Classico off of a 1-0 loss to Argentinos at home, while Boca is coming in off of a 7-1 win on the road. You might want to pay attention to Argentine television and media for the next week, because it'll be fun. It'll be lots of fun. And we'll try to figure out more about the Hulk and the comics and the TV show and all of it. Rope says, Nick's correct. I'm saying that it's the TV show, not the comic.
Yeah, the TV show was David Banner.
Right.
The TV show was David.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
The comic book was Bruce. The TV show was David, because the open from the voiceover guy was Dr. David Banner, physician, scientist, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strengths that all humans have.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I understand what's happening now.
One of the more grim endings to any TV show going. Yeah, he fell out of an airplane.
Yeah, it was. They did some TV movies after the fact. It was 5 seasons on TV. Right. Then they did a couple of three TV movies, and then in 1990, he saves some scientists, and then as he's falling out of an airplane, changes into his human form before he hits the ground.
Yep.
Man, okay. That's not good.
Well, because Bill Bixby was also fighting cancer at that point.
Okay.
Yes, Bill Bixby was on his way.
Got it.
Transitioning. So, if you and for anyone out there who's
like they tried to go down the MASH road and change their mind at literally the last second.
Right. And for anyone who has like beef with how the effects are in the Avengers movies, please go and look at the 80s version of the Avengers, where like they went to the local Home Depot and got the Mjolnir, like Thor's hammer, was from the local Home Depot. Iron Man looks like 2 trash cans were glued together. It was Captain America wore a motorcycle helmet. Just be grateful for what you have, because it used to be terrible. It used to be trash, except for Lou Ferrigno. He was the only one who looked realistic, because he was a mountain of a human being.
That's because he looked like Bill Kazmaier when he was at his peak for World's Strongest Man.
Dude, he was a monster back in the day.
Okay, I think I understand all the confusion now. It was still a reference that I was not ready for.
Okay.
I blame
Yes, we nerded out there.
Yes,
okay,
I'm completely baffled.
Look, when you were out, we did like geopolitics over there, where we talked about China's expansionist real estate policies and Yeah, we went down rabbit holes, man.
What'd you do?
Rabbit holes. Saturday, sir. What's your game?
Yeah, Saturday's a tough one. Like, there's not really anything great out of Germany. I mean, we're not going to do Wolfsburg and Schalke. We're not going to do Werder Bremen and Bayern. We already did a Borussia Dortmund game, but they're hosting Hertha. Like, it's a bunch of mismatches. Not really anything too great in Spain either, I don't think. No, it's a bunch of mismatches. We've done a game from England, but I guess we could do probably the best game on Saturday. Leeds hosting Chelsea in the early game, Saturday morning. What are the numbers, John?
Leeds a plus 345 at home. Draws a plus 297. Chelsea a minus 130 on the road at Ellen Road.
Does Tommy Tuchel lose his first game in charge of Chelsea? Because he has been killing it. Or does he just get a draw, which would keep his undefeated streak? Jarrett?
Give me Too Cool for School keeps doing things.
Win outright on the road?
Win outright on the road.
Okay. John?
Chelsea 3-1.
Okay. Nick?
Kevin Patrick sighting.
John is very excited. USA Network has got Kevin Patrick. I'm a little delayed. John's got like real cable and I've got streaming, so I'm waiting.
My gut is telling me this is going to be a draw. I think there's some challenges right now in the Chelsea's locker room regarding one Mr. Christian Pulisic because he's now bench boy. So
Got a sweet beard.
I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. I think that it's going to be a draw, ladies and gentlemen.
I did not have AJ Styles for the first interview for Kevin Patrick. Okay.
I did not either.
Interesting.
Kevin Patrick is nodding.
Well, that's what he does. I mean, he's talking to the talent here. He's putting them over. That's the point. I got to pick something here.
The guy calls Atlanta games, and you gave them basically the personification of a Waffle House. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If a Waffle House grew legs and jumped into the ring, it would look like AJ Styles.
Isn't he from Stockbridge? Is that where he's from?
No, he's from Gainesville.
Gainesville.
It would only make more sense if he was from, like, Snellville.
Yeah.
No, that'd be completely different. You got to get further out of the metro area to get what you have in AJ Styles.
Fannin County.
Yeah.
He's big Fannin County energy.
Kevin, you need to back up when Randy Orton shows up. Kevin, back up. You're going to get hurt.
Yeah, this is not a safe place for Kevin Patrick right now.
I don't know if Kevin can take care of himself around these guys.
Nope. Is it legit Randy Orton or demon possessed Randy Orton?
It seems to be legit Randy Orton.
I'm not 100% up on how demon possessed he is these days.
Yeah, WWE went way down the comic book rabbit hole.
He's selling it though.
Oh yeah, he was. Good stuff.
Kevin's putting on a good performance. I like it. He's moving that mic back and forth.
Okay, so are you going to have a
He's looking
selection
very
here?
serious. Yeah, I'm still watching this. I'm blown away by this. Kevin Egan is standing between AJ Styles and Randy Orton.
And looking up at Omos.
Well, almost everybody's looking up at Omos. That guy's huge. Come on now.
9 feet tall.
He's massive. Okay, nobody put hands on Kevin. He's going to be all right. Okay.
He needs to get RKO'd just once.
It might happen. I will go... Nick, you went draw here?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I can't go Leeds to win. I think Leeds struggles against teams who are at this level. Chelsea to win. It pains me. I'm sorry, Marcelo. I apologize. All right. Sunday.
Showing up the grenade at your house.
I know, he will. Sunday, you knew what we were going to pick because we've talked about it all day. El Super Clásico.
Super Clásico.
Boca at home, coming off of 7 goals against Vélez, hosting El Muñeco y River Plate, who's coming off of a bad night against Argentinos Juniors.
No odds currently posted.
Of course not, because they will probably change 50 times between now and Sunday. We're picking it anyway.
Oh, they'll change by the minute.
They will, because there will be so much drama. There will be so much intrigue all week. If Carlos Tevez sneezes, it will be headline news. People will be judging Gallardo's facial expressions during the loss tonight to see, is he leaving? Is he going to show up? Is he going to take another job somewhere else? What's going to happen? What is your pick, John Nelson, for Boca and River on Sunday?
Boca.
Boca to win.
Yes, Boca to win.
I want a score line, too. What's the score line going to be?
2-1, very, very late for the game winner.
A 2-1 late winner for Boca.
Make it Carlitos.
Jarrett? Oh, very nice. Boca River. What you got? I know.
I know it's just so dumb.
I know.
Give me River 2-0.
Oh! Wow, that's the pick of the week.
Give me River 2-0. They come in and it's just like they just sweep the leg down.
Storming the castle.
Like Boca basically looks more like the team that played Claypole than they do the team that dropped 7 goals on Velez.
Wow.
River's mad, and Gallardo puts the fear of God in everybody for a 2-0 result that is all they talk about for a month.
More than a month. If that happens, more than a month. Nick?
Completely
Coach
agree.
is fired, but
I completely agree with the right good gentleman, Mr. Jarrett _Smith. I will further state that I believe that River was looking to playing Boca and lapsed against Argentinos Juniors, so I will say that 2-1, because you're not getting out of this without a little bit of action from the Boca end. 2-1 River.
Oh, man, this is a tough one. It's a tough one to pick today because the twists and turns between now and then are going to be immense. The last time they played, it had a lot of twists and turns in it. Both teams had a red card. It finished 10-10, and it was 2-2. Time before that, Boca won at home, 1-0. That last game was at La Bombonera, too. This is the third straight time that Boca gets to host. I'm sure there's probably a conspiracy theory about that. River won the last time it was at El Monumental, 2-0, and then the time before that it was a scoreless draw. I am going with a 1-1 draw, and I think there will be more red cards than goals in the match.
There you go. Okay.
That is my pick of the week.
Right on.
I think it finishes 10-9.
I feel safe.
10-9, 1-1. Late equalizer from Boca, from Cardona. River scores early. River gets a red card. Boca gets a red card. River gets a red card after conceding the equalizer. 10-9, 1-1, final score.
All right.
River wins and kickstarts the talk of Gallardo to Real.
I don't know if it's to Real, but no, I think it's actually the other way. If Boca wins, that's when the talk's going to start about Gallardo splitting town. That's what I think happens.
I think the win does. I think I could see where you're coming. I absolutely see where you're coming from, but I think it's the other way in this instance. I think it's all going the other way.
You okay?
You okay, Jarrett? He's not okay. Did you break something?
I don't know. All right.
I think he did.
Jarrett?
Only my dreams.
Okay. All right, good. I thought you might have injured yourself there. I'm just making sure.
Good Lord.
Good grief. Ridiculousness. Yeah, So that's our picks. We'll see. Jarrett, you've yet to win on a week of picks. John got his first win last week. Good job. Nick's got
That'll
one.
continue. Don't worry.
I got 2. It's okay. Still the champ. I still got the belt.
Are you guys sharing this? Can you believe this mess?
I got 2.
All right.
I got 2.
Right.
I picked, and I wish I'd put some stupid juice boxes on it.
Oh,
if you were listening Saturday morning,
You
Saturday,
had the perfecta, man.
Saturday morning, I had the trifecta. Saturday morning, I said 4-2 Bayern over Dortmund. I said Haaland 2 goals. I said Lewandowski hat trick. All of them happened, and I had no juice boxes on any of it. It almost makes me angrier that it happened, and I didn't put anything on it.
See?
Yeah. Hey, one of those things. Scared money don't make money.
I know. Gustavo tells us that Gallardo won't leave.
I will take
be in Europe.
Gustavo's word.
I think he'll be in Europe. I disagree. I think he'll be in Europe next year. 2022, Gallardo will be working in Europe.
My man Gustavo he has his ear to the streets. He understands what's happening. I'm just telling you, that man is Doppler. He's Doppler radar for Argentina. So
2022, Marcelo Gallardo is working and earning a paycheck in Europe. John, tell us why we should watch Tijuana and Pachuca tonight.
Oh, let's see.
Well, Hunt, before you do that, I've got to get out.
Okay.
I've got a heart out I got to get to. So thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it. Jason, we're coming for you in the world of juice boxes. Prepare yourself accordingly. Make your peace. I want you to get your finances sorted because the Legion of Doom is coming for you. Be ready.
Here's what I got to say to you, Nick.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I'm a little bit older than that, but you get the drift.
Gotta get the mullet going.
Yeah, I can't grow a mullet anymore.
It's like, all right, Billy Ray Gundy.
You don't want that.
All right. Mucha Euro, y'all. Talk to you later.
Nick is out.
Yeah.
John, tell us why we should watch that game in Mexico.
Pachuca and Tijuana. Pachuca minus 104. Your draw's a plus 231, and Tijuana is a plus 293 because they are on the quick turn. Pachuca is at the bottom of the table, chasing after their first win of the year. Tijuana is in the middle of things, playing their 10th match of the season, but they only played 4 days ago. So they had like 2 days rest to turn, and that's why the numbers are leaning in Pachuca's favor. Will Pachuca get their first win of the year? There's only one team in Liga MX that still has not won a match this season. It is Pachuca. They're at the bottom of the table in 18th. Do they get it? Answers. Top of the hour on 2 to NA.
That's pretty good. Good work. I give that a 10 out of 10.
It's late night.
That's a good read. We have a special read for Thursday's live show, by the way, that you're going to get to have some fun with.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a new one. It's going to be fun.
Sweet.
Jarrett, anything we haven't talked about that we've missed that you want to yell about? Or did you injure yourself when you fell earlier?
No, I think we're good. I don't have anything. I think we covered everything. I already yelled about Scotland. I already yelled about my picks. I don't want to yell about Steve Bruce or Big Sam. So, yeah, excited for the season to start domestically. That'll be fun. Let's end this thing on a happy note.
Why are you saying these things? That's not normal for you. I think you hit your head.
Nah, we're good. Let's end on a happy note.
Okay. John, do you have anything you want to yell about?
No, I kind of yelled about, and we yelled about Neil Warnock this morning at the end of soccer down here, and that was pretty much the most yellingest of yelling things to yell about.
He's a nonce.
Plonker.
He's a clown.
What the plonker?
Yeah, I got nothing else on Neil Warnock. Is there anything I want to yell about? Is there anything that we have not covered that needs to be yelled about? I can't think of anything. That's a good thing. Kevin Patrick did not get injured by Randy Orton. That's a good thing.
1 for 1. Yeah. Or almost, or...
Yeah, not even threatened. Not even like the suit wasn't ruffled or anything. It was good. we'll have a show tomorrow morning. We'll probably dig into a lot of MLS tomorrow, a lot of like kind of big picture MLS stuff in the morning. But I will let you guys know that if you would like for us to get into anything specifically in the morning, you can tweet it at us at Soccer Down Here. If you're listening to this in the morning before the live morning show, just tweet at us. Say, hey, would you talk about this, please?
Hey.
We'll dig into it. Thursday at Wild Heaven, West End. We will be doing a live show at 6 o'clock. If you can't join us, you're not comfortable coming out joining us, you're not comfortable coming out to events, anything like that, I completely understand. You can watch on Twitch. And you can participate on Twitch, and we will take your questions on Twitch, and we will be doing a Q&A segment. But you can also win a $50 gift certificate from Wild Heaven Brewery, which is pretty sweet stuff. You can also, if you come out, you will get dollar drafts from 5 to 6, and you can win a $50 gift certificate by being on site, and we'll take questions from people on site as well. We'll talk about soccer in the streets, and there's a fundraising component from the bar on the night, a portion of the earnings at Wild Heaven on Thursday will go to Soccer in the Streets, which is awesome. They operate programming in West End. So we have a lot of things this week. It'll be a busy week. Atlanta United plays their first preseason match behind closed doors on Saturday against South Georgia Tormenta. MLS teams are making signings. There are things happening. We are getting closer and closer to the start of our domestic season. It's good. And we'll have a lot of other things to talk about now that Aberdeen's looking for a manager. Who knows what else happens this week in the world of football. We've got a Super Classico, which I'm telling you, the stories out of Argentina this week will be more ridiculous than usual. And they're pretty freaking weird to begin with at times, especially when you're talking about River and Boca. So this River loss makes it even more ridiculous for the weeks build up. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. We'll be getting into that all week long, too. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us on the SDH Network. We really appreciate it. Thanks for contributing and being part of the show and laughing along with us and yelling at us and checking us when we're wrong and all that stuff. So y'all have a good rest of the night. We will be back in the morning. Jarrett, you going to be able to join us at all in this morning or in the rest of the week?
This morning.
It's pretty much this morning.
Distinct possibility.
Oh, that's exciting. Especially if things happen in Scotland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah, the bat signal goes up at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we'll be back in the morning. Y'all have a good rest of the night. Mucha plata, y'all.
Mucha plata, y'all.
Mucha and plata.